the school beauty's personal bodyguard. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 826 Go Ask. It can be said that the clothes Gu Huli was wearing were basically out of print, which was why she dared to make such a boast, saying that if Lin Yi and the others bought the same clothes, she would pull her head off. What do you think? Did you hear that? Are you giving up now? Gu Huli turned around proudly and looked at Lin Yi, Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu. Are you embarrassed now? Don't you have membership cards? But what's the use of having membership cards? The items are sold out. Forget about having 3 membership cards. Even if you had 100, you can't get them. Are you sure this style of clothes is out of stock? Lin Yi frowned and asked the sales girl. At this moment, he finally understood where Gu Huli's confidence came from. She must have known that her clothes were out of stock, so she dared to make such a boast. Yes, except for the one item displayed in the window, there is no more stock, the sales girl said apologetically. Can't the items in the window be sold? Lin Yi asked. I'm sorry, sir, I don't have the authority to open the window, the sales girl explained, because the merchandise in the window is arranged by our department store's sales department and is changed periodically. Our ordinary salespeople and sales girls don't have window keys. Oh, I see. Lin Yi nodded and looked at Chu Mengyao. Give me your membership card. Chu Mengyao was stunned, not knowing what Lin Yi was going to do, but she still took out her wallet from her pocket, took out the membership card and handed it to Lin Yi. Lin Yi took the membership card, handed it to the sales girl, and then said, take this card and go find the manager of your sales department and ask him if you can sell the samples in the window. Diamond card. The sales girl was slightly stunned, but then shook her head. I'm sorry, sir, although you are a respected Diamond VIP member, we can't sell it, because this is the rule that the department store has already established. Huh. You 3 servants really haven't seen the world. Gu Huli sneered when she saw Lin Yi's actions. Do you think you can show off with a diamond membership card? You are really wrong. I still have a diamond membership card, but this is the rule of the mall. Who are you? Can you change other people's rules? It's really hilarious. I have never seen people as unsophisticated as you. I don't know how your master usually teaches you. You are so ignorant. You think you can show off with a diamond card? You are so naive. Gu Huli's words were so sharp and pointed that even the sales girl beside her felt a little overwhelmed. She thought, I just asked if the diamond card holder had this privilege, and I didn't say anything else. And you're just being sarcastic. What did I do to provoke you? Lin Yi ignored Gu Huli's words, treating her like a mad dog. It was a waste of time to even talk to her. Lin Yi addressed the sales girl directly, just do what I say. Show this card to your sales manager, and he'll tell you if the dress is for sale. Okay, the sales girl agreed, having no choice but to nod. After all, this was a diamond card holder's request, and Pengzhan Group employees were trained to prioritize the customer. They couldn't just ignore a customer's request. Even if the customer's request was unreasonable, they still needed to patiently explain it or report it to higher authorities. Still want to try? What are you trying to do? That's ridiculous. Gu Huli didn't expect that the sales girl actually agreed to Lin Yi's request. She was a little annoyed. Why didn't you just reject him directly? Why waste time? Of course I have to try. There are people in our family waiting to see your head-pulling performance, Lin Yi said lightly. Oh, that person is me. Chen Yashu quickly raised her hand to express her intention. Humph. Gu Huli glared at Lin Yi and Chen Yashu, thinking, in that case, then let you be proud for a while. You are really 2 guys who won't give up until they see the yellow river and won't cry until they see the coffin. Chu Mengyao saw that Lin Yi gave the membership card to the sales girl and asked her to find the sales manager. She probably guessed some of Lin Yi's intentions in her heart. Lin Yi planned to use her identity as a stepping stone. In fact, Lin Yi was thinking the same thing. He'd already seen a hint of what was going on in the parking lot security guard's face. The guard had seen the information on Chu Mengyao's diamond card and recognized her as the daughter of Pengzhan Group. Imagine if a parking lot security guard could recognize Chu Mengyao, then how could the sales manager of Pengzhan department store not recognize her? After seeing the information on Chu Mengyao's membership card, he'd probably disregard any rules and simply sell the clothes to her. Who is in charge of Pengzhan department store? Of course, Pengzhan Group. Who is the biggest boss in Pengzhan Group? Chu Pengzhan? As Chu Pengzhan's only daughter and the future heir to Pengzhan Group, how could these junior managers not curry favor with her? Therefore, Gu Huli's fate was sealed. She'd have to watch her act and have her head ripped off. The saleswoman was puzzled, but since Lin Yi insisted, she took the membership card he'd given her and hurried to the door of the department store's marketing manager's office. This was the office of their immediate supervisor, so the saleswoman felt a little nervous. She took a deep breath before knocking. "Come in," a deep male voice called from inside. The saleswoman pushed the door open and stepped inside, nervously saying, "Manager Wang, I'm sorry to bother you." "Oh? Who are you?" Manager Wang, who was in the office, clearly didn't recognize the saleswoman. There were so many saleswomen in the mall, how could he possibly recognize them all? "I'm Chen Lily, a VIP saleswoman for the luxury goods counter in the apparel department," the saleswoman introduced herself. "Oh, what can I do for you?" Manager Wang had no impression of Chen Lily, but knowing she was one of his subordinates, he nodded and asked, "Well, there's a VIP diamond customer who wants to purchase an item from the window display," Chen Lily explained. "Oh? Don't we have a rule about this? Exhibits can't be sold. Window displays have a replacement cycle," Manager Wang frowned. Such a trivial matter had already been emphasized in the usual meetings, so why did this saleswoman come in person to ask about it? Chapter 827 Destined for Tragedy. Manager Wang, I've already explained this to this client, but he insists on letting me see his membership card, Chen Lily explained. "Didn't you say we should do our best to meet client requests? Even if they were unreasonable, we should report them to higher authorities," Manager Wang nodded. If the client insisted, then Chen Lily had done nothing wrong. "Give me the card," he said. Having reached the position of marketing manager, Manager Wang was no fool. He knew that a client who made such a request was likely someone of high status. If they were truly prestigious, perhaps a strategic partner of Pengzhan Group, he couldn't afford to offend them. He might have to call Uncle Fu, Chu Pengzhan's assistant, for permission. Chen Lily handed Chu Mengyao's membership card to Manager Wang. There was a card reader in Manager Wang's office, and Manager Wang swiped it directly on the computer, and the card information appeared. Hiss, Manager Wang gasped as he saw the name on the card. Chu Mengyao? He knew exactly what those 3 words meant. Wasn't she the daughter of the group? The young lady actually came to shop in person? Manager Wang found it a bit unbelievable. If the young lady liked something, she only needed to tell Uncle Fu, and he would be able to take care of it. There was no need for the young lady to come in person, right? However, Manager Wang suddenly remembered that the young lady was usually very low-key. It seemed that she had never bought anything from the mall through Uncle Fu. She always came here to choose and buy things, but she didn't say anything. Manager Wang also saw that the young lady had shopped here from the membership card usage record. Thinking of this, Manager Wang understood that the young lady was probably a low-key person who didn't like to show off. This time, she really had no choice. The style she wanted was out of stock, so she had to ask the sales girl to take out a membership card and come to him. "Let's go, I'll go there myself." Manager Wang picked up Chu Mengyao's membership card and said to Chen Lily. Chen Lily was stunned. She didn't know why Manager Wang had such a reaction after seeing the membership card. Is there any secret in this membership card? But Manager Wang naturally would not explain to Chen Lily. Since the eldest lady is a low-key person, she probably doesn't want others to know her identity. Otherwise, she could have just called Uncle Fu and everything would have been resolved. Or she could have directly asked the sales girl to convey her identity, without having to tell her in such an obscure way. As Manager Wang walked out of the office, he ordered an employee from the marketing department to go out and take out the clothes from the window. This made Chen Lily stunned. Manager Wang really agreed to sell the exhibits in the window? This has never happened before, right? But Manager Wang didn't explain, and she was embarrassed to ask more. She accompanied Manager Wang to the luxury VIP counter of the clothing sales department. Manager Wang walked over quickly, took out Chu Mengyao's membership card, and said, "Whose membership card is this?" "It's mine." Chu Mengyao no longer concealed her identity at this moment, and nodded kindly to Manager Wang. "Hello, Miss Chu, this is your membership card." Manager Wang quickly and respectfully returned the membership card to Chu Mengyao, and then said, "I have sent someone to get the exhibits in the window. And they will be brought up in a while. Please wait a moment." Okay, thank you." Chu Mengyao naturally knew that Manager Wang knew who she was, Then I'll trouble you. I'll wait by myself. You go ahead and get busy. No. Manager Wang shook his head quickly. Oh, hey, old lady, when are you going to perform the head-pulling performance? We bought you the exact same clothes. Chen Yushu saw that the clothes shopping was done, and couldn't wait to call out to Gu Huli. Old lady? Who is the old lady? I'm only in my 30s, okay? I'm still young and beautiful? Chen Yushu's words almost made Gu Huli explode. How did she become an old lady? Gu Huli was already a little angry because Manager Wang had inexplicably come out and wanted to sell the clothes in the window to Lin Yi and the others. She was even more furious when Chen Yushu called her an old lady. Who do you say is the old lady? Gu Huli glared at Chen Yushu and asked. Oh, I don't know. Whoever is the oldest among us is naturally the old lady, Chen Yushu blinked and said innocently. Humph, Gu Huli snorted in dissatisfaction, but she no longer had the heart to argue with Chen Yushu and the others. What she cared about now was why the mall sold the clothes in the window to Lin Yi and the others. This was something she had specifically asked about before. The goods in the window were not for sale. Moreover, the salesgirl Chen Lily had also explained that the goods in the window were not for sale. But when Manager Wang came, he agreed to sell them. But if he agreed to sell them, wouldn't it mean he had lost the bet? How could Gu Huli watch this happen? She had originally been full of confidence, wanting to watch Lin Yi and the others lose face, then take them home and humiliate them, and make them work for her. But now the situation has changed drastically, and she actually lost. Doesn't that mean she will have to tear her head off in front of them? How could Gu Huli tear her head off? Her face suddenly became a little ugly, and she looked at Manager Wang grimly. What's wrong with you? Aren't the things in the window not for sale? Why are you selling them? Manager Wang was slightly stunned. He didn't know what Gu Huli was doing, but seeing her asking, he explained, our mall naturally has its own rules. It is the mall that decides whether to sell them. Manager Wang's implication was that although you are a VIP guest of our mall, you can't interfere with the normal operation of our mall, right? Aren't you meddling a little too much? You're going back on your word. I'm going to file a complaint against you. I'm going to file a complaint against you to the top management of your group. Do you know who I am? How dare you refuse to listen to me? I'm telling you, even the president of a small chamber of commerce in your small town has to act according to my husband's wishes, let alone your small business. Gu Huli was furious, pointing at Manager Wang and shouting. Complain? Manager Wang didn't care. He sold things to the young lady, so even if he complained to Chu Pengzhan, it would be useless. Why was he afraid of others complaining? As for this woman's claim that the president of the Chamber of Commerce had to act according to her husband's wishes, Manager Wang was willing to believe it or not. Even the president of the Chamber of Commerce had no control over whether he sold the clothes in the window. Chapter 828 The Zhao Family. It's your right to complain, but it's our department store's decision whether to sell the clothes or not, Manager Wang said politely to Gu Huli. Okay. Remember this. Just wait. Gu Huli had no choice. Staying here any longer would only make her a laughingstock. What if Lin Yi and the others paid her and asked her to perform a head-pulling show? How could Gu Huli wait for that to happen? So she said something harsh and turned to leave. Wait, we haven't compensated you for the clothes yet. Lin Yi stopped Gu Huli. Don't want the clothes. It's a bargain for you. But remember this, I will never let this go, Gu Huli said bitterly. Don't want it? You can, but now you see that we can buy the same clothes as you. Do you still owe us something? Lin Yi said lightly. Oh, come on, perform the head-pulling show. Everyone, come and see, this old lady is going to perform a head-pulling show in public, even more amazing than the clowns in the zoo and circus, Chen Yushu screamed. I didn't ask for any clothes, what's the point of putting on a show? Gu Huli glared at Chen Yushu. I'll remember you too, just wait. We'll settle this slowly next time. With that, Gu Huli ignored Lin Yi and Chen Yushu, turned around, and strode towards the elevator. Let her go. Lin Yi looked at Chu Mengyao. Forget it, she's not worth bothering with. Chu Mengyao shook her head, clearly not intending to be aggressive. Lin Yi shrugged. Since the eldest lady had said so, he wouldn't say anything else. In his eyes, Gu Huli was just a clown, but from what she said, it seemed like her man had some power. He didn't know if it was just an exaggeration or the truth. How boring. Some old ladies are just so shameless, relying on their age to bully others. They agreed to do a head-pulling show, but now they're going back on their word. Chen Yushu felt so bored that she couldn't see the head pulling anymore. Gu Huli stumbled and almost fell to the ground, but even so, she twisted her ankle and was so angry that she gnashed her teeth. Originally, she was planning to take a long-term view, but at this moment, she could no longer bear it and had to vent her anger. After entering the elevator, Gu Huli took out her mobile phone and called her man. "Husband, I was bullied as soon as I arrived in Songshan City. Not only did they pour water all over me with a water gun, but they also didn't compensate me for my clothes, and even humiliated me by asking me to pull my head in front of them." Gu Huli complained first. There was also a little bitch who called me an old lady. Your wife, am so young and beautiful, how can I be an old lady? What's going on? Who is the other party? The man on the other end of the phone frowned, but he also knew what kind of person his wife was, and did not directly believe Gu Huli's words. "You didn't provoke them. Why did they bully you? What's going on? Tell me the truth. Don't talk nonsense. I don't know you yet." Humph. There were just 2 working nannies and a gardener, who were fighting with water guns in the villa. I just bought a villa for our family and was going to see it. As soon as I drove to the villa area, they splashed water on my head and face with water guns. Seeing that her husband did not believe her words, Gu Huli could only cry and complain truthfully. "I was thinking that our house needed some workers to clean it, right? I wanted them to be our free cleaners for a month. So I scared them and asked them to compensate for the clothes, but they agreed." "Then why do you say that they humiliated you?" The man snorted and asked. "How could a few of those servants possibly afford to compensate me for my clothes? You know, I bought all my clothes at the VIP counter in Pengzhan department store, and when I bought them, there was only 1 piece left, besides the ones on display in the window." Gu Huli explained. "I thought they definitely wouldn't be able to buy it. So I made a bet with them, saying if they bought it, I'd pull their heads off, and if they didn't, they'd have to do hard labor for our family for a month, and they did, didn't they?" The man was speechless. How could he say such a thing? And even pull his head off in front of them? Yet, I didn't expect that each of the servants actually has a diamond membership card of Pengzhan department store. Their master is really good to them, Gu Huli said, a little unhappy. "But what's the use of having a membership card? I think, even if you have 100 membership cards, it is impossible for you to buy the same clothes as mine if the goods are sold out." But I didn't expect that when they went there and showed their membership cards, a manager Wang actually came and wanted to sell the goods in the window to them. I was really mad. I don't know what's wrong with manager Wang. He is standing in the same group with a few slaves. Slaves? Servants. The man was immediately infuriated by Gu Huli. "Do you have a brain? Can a few little nannies and gardeners have diamond membership cards? As far as I know, you have this diamond membership card because our family is a noble family, so they gave it to you as a friendly gift. How can a few little nannies have diamond cards? Is that because their master is good to them?" Gu Huli didn't quite understand what the man meant. "Master? Did you see it clearly? Those people are obviously not simple. Can you get a diamond card for your nanny? At best, you can only get an ordinary membership card," the man said angrily. "They all have diamond cards, and they also know the manager of the shopping mall. It is obvious that they are the owners of the villa. You just went there and you had a conflict with the neighbors? These 3 people are obviously very powerful in the local area. How come you can't even see this?" No way." Gu Huli was stunned. "But they are all wearing tattered clothes, and how can the owner of the villa clean the house himself? Cleaning can be because people want to exercise, or they can be because they have nothing to do. When our old man was alive, he went to the fields to grow vegetables. Why didn't you say he was a servant?" the man said angrily. "You idiot, you made enemies as soon as you went there. HMPH. So what? They are just a few local rich second generation at most. Judging from their age, they are not very old. Besides, even if their fathers come, they are nothing in front of our Yanjing Xiao family. Xiaoji, I have been bullied like this, and you don't help me? You might as well let me die. I have followed you since I was 18 years old, and followed you for so many years. It was not until your wife died that you made me your legal wife. How miserable I am. Now I am being bullied, but you can only scold me. Woo woo woo, I won't lie anymore." Gu Huli pretended to cry. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 829, Chu Mengyao's Identity. Okay. Stop crying. Let's talk about this after I get to Songshan City. I'm in Donghae now, and Xiao Ben and I still have to visit the Kang family. When we are done with things here, we'll let you vent your anger, Xiao Ji said helplessly. So I've been putting up with it all this time? I've just been bullied when I arrived at the villa area. How will others see me? Gu Huli didn't want to wait any longer. She was so angry that she wanted to teach Lin Yi and the others a lesson right now. Then what do you want to do? Xiao Ji said helplessly. I'm not willing to accept this. Do you know anyone in Songshan City? If not, find some gangsters or hooligans to beat them up, Gu Huli said. You want to punish them without even knowing their background? Xiao Ji frowned. What kind of background could they have? They're just a bunch of brats, Gu Huli said with some disdain. Even if their family has background, how can it be as powerful as our Xiao family? We are an aristocratic family in Yanjing. In this small place, who dares not to give us face? Don't say that. After all, we do business in the local area and need the help of those local gentry. If we offend them, then even if we are an aristocratic family, we are unfamiliar with this place. What will we do if they don't give us face? Xiao Ji said in a deep voice. Humph. How dare they? Let Paibo destroy them. Our Xiao family has a one-level priest in charge. Why should we be afraid of these local upstarts? Gu Huli sneered and said proudly. You know Paibo is our family's patron saint. If father were still around, it wouldn't be a problem to have Paibo do things. But now, Xiao Ben and I are even further removed from Paibo. With father gone, his affection for our family has waned. He's completely reliant on father's favor to stay here. Otherwise, do you really think you can hire a one-level expert with that little money every month? You're dreaming, aren't you? Xiao Ji said. So what do you say? I'll just have to endure it. Your wife's practically a ninja turtle. People will definitely say that after the old man died, the Xiao family is doomed. They can't even compete with a small local upstart, Gu Huli insisted. Okay. You should investigate the other party's background first to see who he is. In any case, I have to wait until I visit the old man of the Kang family, Xiao Ji said impatiently. You are not unaware of the situation of our Xiao family. In the eyes of outsiders, it is one of the 4 major families and 5 minor families, but now, it is not even as good as the Kang family. Look at our industries in Yanjing City. How much money is left after the sale? It can be said that this time our Xiao family came to other places to start a business. It is a matter of starting from scratch. Our Xiao family is in a difficult situation now. Without the support of the Kang family, we may face a greater crisis. Do you know, you spendthrift woman? Gu Huli was speechless after what Xiao Ji said. It's not that she didn't know these situations, but she just didn't want to accept them. She had just been the daughter-in-law of the Xiao family for less than 2 years. She had just enjoyed the pleasure of marrying into a wealthy family and becoming a rich wife. The Xiao family fell into decline all of a sudden, which made her a little unacceptable for a while. So the more this happened, the more she wanted to highlight the prestige of the Xiao family, and use the Xiao family's still existing reputation to fight for a face for herself and pretend to be cool. Otherwise she really couldn't accept this gap. Before Gu Huli finished speaking, Xiao Ji hung up the phone. Gu Huli wanted to throw the phone in her hand away angrily, but thinking that this was the latest Apple phone that cost her several thousand yuan, she hesitated for a moment and put it away. The Xiao family has fallen on hard times, and Gu Huli's monthly pocket money is not as much as when she was a mistress in the past few years. But there is no way. She also knows that the Xiao family is getting worse and worse now, and even if she wants to complain, she can't. Gu Huli decided that after she goes back, she will ask the community property for information about the owner of the villa. If she doesn't teach a lesson to such a domineering person like herself, how can she be worthy of her identity as the daughter-in-law of the Xiao family? So, thinking of this, Gu Huli hurried downstairs, to the parking lot, got in her car, and sped back to the villa complex. She found the property management company and walked in with a swagger. The property management company kept files on all the residents of the complex, and unless explicitly told to keep it confidential, they could be directly accessed. So Gu Huli easily found the name of the villa's owner, Chu Mengyao. Chu Mengyao? Gu Huli was slightly startled, then suddenly remembered that the nanny who had presented her membership card seemed to have the surname Chu, And another nanny beside her called her sister Yao Yao? Could she be Chu Mengyao? No way. She was the owner of this villa? Gu Huli was a little surprised, and understandably so. Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashi were not dressed well, just ordinary sportswear, and Lin Yi was wearing a tacky cotton shirt, like a migrant worker, the standard gardener's attire. She had mistakenly thought these people were just servants, but now it seemed that they were actually the owners of the complex. No wonder they have diamond membership cards. It turns out they are 3 rich second generations. But the more this happened, the more annoyed Gu Huli became. Since you are the owners of this place, why didn't you refute when I said you were servants? Are you pretending to be a pig and eating the tiger to tease me? Hey, tell me, what is the background of this Chu Mengyao? Gu Huli casually called a security guard and asked him loudly. Although Gu Huli had just handled a villa name change procedures at the property management yesterday, almost everyone in the property management knew this domineering woman. She kept saying that she was a wealthy lady from Yanjing, and she was also pointing fingers at people. She was as domineering as a crab. When she came to handle the procedures yesterday, it happened to be the lunch break, but Gu Huli threw away a staff member's lunchbox and asked him to handle the procedures for her immediately. The property management staff had no way to deal with this kind of domineering owner with a background. They couldn't afford to offend her, so they could only swallow their anger. Chu Mengyao is the daughter of Pengzhan Group. This is a well-known fact in this community. The security guard did not hide it and told Gu Huli directly. What? She is the daughter of Pengzhan Group. Gu Huli's eyes widened when she heard the security guard's words. Is what you said true? It's true. Many owners of this community know about this. The security guard didn't know why Gu Huli reacted so strongly, but he didn't dare to ask anything. Chapter 830 The Zhao Family's Plan. This little bitch. You're pretending to be a pig and eating the tiger. You're making me so angry. I will never let you go. Gu Huli finally understood why Manager Wang of Pengzhan department store suddenly took out the samples in the window for sale. With the daughter of Pengzhan Group around, how could he dare not sell them? Gu Huli ignored the security guard, turned around and walked out of the property company, got in her sports car, and angrily called her man Xiaoji again. What's the matter with you? Xiaoji answered the phone impatiently. He found that it was a failed decision to make Gu Huli his wife. When she was his lover before, she didn't have so many problems. Husband, I have already investigated clearly. The little nanny is really the owner of the villa. Her name is Chu Mengyao, the daughter of Pengzhan Group, Gu Huli said. Look at me. What did I say? She's just a little nanny. I don't know what you look at her with. Did you offend her? Xiaoji frowned and said, Pengzhan Group? Isn't the Chu Pengzhan's industry? Is this Chu Pengzhan very powerful? Gu Huli heard that Xiaoji's tone was a little unfriendly, so she asked carefully. Not very powerful, but Pengzhan Group is one of the largest companies in the province. If you offend it, it will be regarded as an enemy for our Zhao family, Xiaoji said a little unhappy. Wait a minute and I'll get back to you. I'll ask Xiao Ben and see what we should do, okay? Gu Huli didn't dare to say much and quickly hung up the phone. She thought to herself, although Pengzhan Group is one of the largest companies in the province, so what? It just so happens that the Zhao family came to Songshan city and couldn't find a place to establish their authority. It would be a good idea to find Pengzhan Group to establish their authority. After Xiaoji hung up the phone, he told Xiao Ben about Gu Huli's situation and wanted to discuss countermeasures with him. In the Zhao family, although Xiaoji is the eldest, it is Xiao Ben who makes the final decision. Because Xiaoji's character is relatively rough, and Xiao Ben is the real think tank. Second brother, what do you think we should do about this matter? Xiaoji told Xiao Ben about Gu Huli offending the daughter of Pengzhan Group, and wanted to ask for his advice. It's also your sister-in-law who has a reckless character. She got into trouble as soon as she came to Songshan city. Oh? Trouble? Xiao Ben shook his head, smiled slightly, and said, this trouble is good. Our Zhao family is unfamiliar with this place. The only local wealthy family we are friends with is the King family, but this is obviously not enough. Many companies probably don't know the reputation of our Zhao family. It just so happens that I want to find an opportunity to establish my authority, and my sister-in-law brought it to me. Why not? Xiaoji was slightly stunned, a little confused. Second brother, do you mean that we should make enemies with Pengzhan Group? It's not that we are enemies. Xiao Ben waved his hand, but it's true that we can make them bleed and give up some benefits. What's the benefit of being enemies? Our Zhao family's roots are not here. Now is a time of internal and external troubles, so it's not appropriate to make enemies. What we have to do is to use high-pressure policies to force Pengzhan Group to compromise, compensate us with a sum of money, and then cede some industries to us. So that our Zhao family doesn't have to start from scratch here again. Second brother has thought it through. In this way, our Zhao family can not only gain benefits, but also avoid a lose-lose situation with Pengzhan Group. Zhao Ji nodded, but still asked with some doubts, but can Chu Pengzhan surrender? Humph. Our Zhao family's reputation is there, how dare he not submit? And we are sticking to this matter. Chu Pengzhan didn't give our Zhao family face and bullied my sister-in-law. If they don't pay compensation or cede interests at that time, then fine, let Pai Bo go to their house and see if they will give it. Zhao Ben sneered, this Chu Pengzhan's daughter is so arrogant, ha 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 ha, it just gives me the opportunity to blackmail them. Second brother, good idea. When Zhao Ji heard that if it really didn't work, he could let Pai Bo go to Chu Pengzhan, he immediately felt relieved. I heard that Chu Pengzhan's bodyguard Fu Bo was only an external master with the strength of the peak of the late yellow rank, which was still a level lower than Pai Bo. If he let Pai Bo come forward at that time, he would not be afraid of what Chu Pengzhan would dare to say. How could a small businessman like him bully a behemoth of a family like the Zhao family? If he doesn't teach him a lesson, he won't know how powerful the Zhao family is. Okay, let's go visit the Kang family first. Zhao Ben finalized the matter with just a few words, which also made Zhao Ji feel relieved. He thought that his wife would make enemies with others as soon as she came to Songshan City, which would be detrimental to the future development of the Zhao family. But he didn't expect that his second brother would easily turn a bad thing into a good thing, and let this conflict become an excuse for the Zhao family to make money. Well, his wife looks pretty good like this. Being a little arrogant has its advantages. I have to praise her when I get home and let her continue to be arrogant. Is Uncle Pai not here yet? Zhao Ji asked after looking at the time on his watch. I have asked someone to pick him up at the hotel. This time when he comes to the Kang family, if Uncle Pai didn't support him, I'm really afraid that the old Dr. Kang will cause some trouble. The contact between the Kang family and the Zhao family has not been very close recently, Zhao Ben said with a sigh. The attitude of the Kang family made the Zhao brothers a little anxious. The Zhao brothers were well aware of the Kang family's purpose. The so-called marriage was nothing more than a springboard to help them enter the ranks of aristocratic families. However, with the Zhao family's recent decline, they may have underestimated its role. The Zhao family sold their assets in Yanjing and settled in Songshan City, partly to facilitate the marriage between the Kang and Zhao families, and partly because the market competition in smaller cities wasn't as fierce as in Yanjing. The Zhao brothers were already struggling in Yanjing. All the old friends their grandfather had made had turned against them, and even the Yu family no longer considered them a noble family. Ultimately, the Zhao family lacked a single person capable of standing tall. They lacked experts. While they had Pai Bo, a Zhuan-level priest, that was still a priest, not the Zhao family's true strength. The Zhao family began as a business, and during its heyday, it was thanks to Pai Bo's unwavering support that the Zhao family's patriarch rose to the status of aristocratic family. But now, without the power of their father, and with Pai Bo's attitude changed, the Zhao family has naturally become much weaker. Zhao Ji and Zhao Ben both regret not practicing with Pai Bo when they were young. If the Zhao brothers had only been yellow rank masters, they wouldn't have ended up in this situation. But back then, they couldn't endure hardship and didn't practice martial arts, thinking that with their father and Pai Bo around, the Zhao family would last forever. Now it's too late to regret. Chapter 831 Zhao Family Visit. A commercial vehicle with a Yanjing license plate slowly approached, and Pai Bo arrived. The two Zhao brothers also got in the vehicle, leading the way, and drove with a commercial vehicle to the Kang family villa. Dad, the Zhao family is here. Should we go greet them? Kang Gifeng asked in his father, Dr. Kang's study, after receiving a call from the Zhao brothers about visiting the Kang family villa. Oh? They're coming? Humph, they seem a little impatient. Dr. Kang curled his lips and said with a hint of disdain, I heard that the Zhao family is now a shell. Yes, according to my research, the Kang family sold all their assets in Yanjing and are planning to invest everything in Songshan City. Kang Gifeng nodded. Why Songshan City and not Zhonghe City? Dr. Kang asked. I guess with the little money they have left, they wouldn't be able to make a dent in Zhonghe, the provincial capital. There are too many wealthy people here, and the Zhao family doesn't stand out Kang Giffen's guess was almost correct. The Xiao family really did think so. Moreover, Donghae City has the behemoth Kang family and the hidden Zhao family, so the Xiao family can't show anything at all. If they choose Songshan City, they can use the remaining power of the Xiao family to dominate this small place. Dr. Kang nodded, take it, but don't be too grand. After all, our current strength as a Kang family can only rely on the Xiao family. The Xiao family has been in a bad state recently. Isn't our Kang family the same? Yes, our Kang family has also suffered heavy losses recently. We have been cheated by Dr. Guan and Fatty Lai, Kang Giffen said. Now it depends on whether Xiao Ming can get the Guan family's formula. Oh, by the way, how is Xiao Ming doing recently? Asked Dr. Kang. Zhao Kaibing was doing demolition and accidentally injured him, but I heard that Kang Xiaoming wants to handle it himself and let them pay some money, Kang Giffen said. As for the progress with Guanxin, there seems to be no progress. This kid, doesn't he always brag about being a master at picking up girls? How come he hasn't succeeded for so long? Dr. Kang was a little anxious, and then asked, by the way, his injury is not serious, right? I don't know about this, but Kang Xiaoming didn't say anything himself, so I guess he's okay. Kang Giffen shook his head. Not long after, the Xiao brothers brought Pai Bo to the Kang family. Originally, Dr. Kang didn't want to show up, but when he heard that Pai Bo was also here, Dr. Kang was so scared that he ran out from the inner room. Seeing Pai Bo and the Xiao brothers in the living room, he quickly apologized. I'm sorry, Mr. Pai, Xiao Ji, Xiao Ben, I'm old and sleep a lot. I accidentally fell asleep. It's okay. Xiao Ben smiled and waved his hand nonchalantly, and stood up with Xiao Ji and said, how can we two juniors trouble Dr. Kang to receive us? We are flattered. However, Xiao Ben sneered in his heart, you old fox, if you hadn't heard that Pai Bo was here, you would probably have been hiding, right? In fact, it was true. Dr. Kang knew how powerful Pai Bo was, and it was impossible for him not to give him this face. Maybe the Kang family would have trouble with Pai Bo in the future. At the level of aristocratic families, many conflicts and contradictions between each other cannot be resolved by normal means. Aristocratic families naturally have their own ways of resolving conflicts. For people at the level of Li Chihu and Chu Pengzhan, many issues wouldn't be resolved through normal channels, let alone conflicts between aristocratic families. Therefore, the way aristocratic families resolve conflicts is often simple, whoever has the stronger fist prevails. As a Zhuan-level external martial arts master, Pai Bo is naturally not to be underestimated. Sure, Divine Dr. Kang greeted Pai Bo with a broad smile. Master Pai, your visit is a great honor to the Kang family. Divine Dr. Kang's name is also well known. Pai Bo glanced at Divine Dr. Kang, not even standing up from his chair. He simply glanced at him and said calmly, his expression devoid of any hint of fame. Divine Dr. Kang was a little embarrassed, but he didn't dare to say anything. He laughed and sat back in his seat, chatting with his Xiao brothers. Xiao Ji, what's the matter with you coming to Donghae City this time? Is there anything our Kang family needs help with? Haha, actually, Divine Dr. Kang, you also know that since my father passed away, our Xiao family's business in Yanjing has become a mess. My father did some stupid things before he died, and messed up the industry. Xiao Ben did not hide it. These things were also known to the Kang family. Based on the idea of destruction before construction, we sold the industry in Yanjing and planned to go to Songshan City to redevelop the Xiao family's foundation. That's right. Change the place, change the environment, and drive closer to our Kang family. Divine Dr. Kang nodded, sneering in his heart. If it weren't for Pai Bo, what would be left of your Xiao family? Well, secondly, I want to ask about the marriage of our Xinayan and Xiao Long. Xiao Ben stated the purpose of his visit this time. He was eager to have a local helper. Although the Xiao family had the prestige of an aristocratic family and had Pai Bo in charge, they couldn't always let Pai Bo do everything, right? In this way, with the Kang family's marriage, many people in the local area would give him face. I don't think there's any rush for this. Xinayan is only in her third year of high school. Isn't it a bit early to talk about marriage? Dr. Kang said. Of course, I am very happy to facilitate this marriage, but Xinayan is too young. Isn't she not of the legal age for marriage? Haha, Dr. Kang, you are joking. These regulations are nothing in the eyes of our aristocratic family. But you can get engaged without getting married. At least you can get married first, Xiao Ji also interrupted with a smile. Well, that's true, Dr. Kang nodded. Okay, I'll ask Hao Long about this, and then put the engagement on the agenda. Dr. Kang didn't care about the engagement. After all, an engagement wasn't a marriage, and one could break off the engagement at any time. As long as the Kang family found a more powerful backer or gained more power, they could abandon the Xiao family. Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben also felt a change in Dr. Kang's attitude, and they knew in their hearts that if it weren't for Pai Bo, this marriage would be in trouble. After bidding farewell to Dr. Kang, Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben left the Kang family villa somewhat dejected. It was really like a tiger in plain sight being bullied by a dog. However, the news of the Xiao family's decline could not be blocked, and Dr. Kang would find out sooner or later. Thinking of how respectful Dr. Kang was when he brought Kang Gifeng and Kang Xiao along to visit the Xiao family, it was only half a month later that Dr. Kang's attitude took a 180-degree turn. Chapter 832 The Troublemaker. With Gu Huli gone, Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu naturally stopped buying the clothes in the window. The style was clearly for young women, but even if it wasn't, Chu Mengyao wouldn't wear the same clothes as a shrew like Gu Huli. Manager Wang saw Chu Mengyao refuse the clothes again, and saw Gu Huli leave in anger. He suspected something had happened. Gu Huli had provoked the eldest daughter, and the eldest daughter was angry with him, leading to this incident. But Manager Wang naturally didn't question it. If the eldest daughter didn't want the clothes, then so be it. He feigned ignorance and said to Chu Mengyao, "Miss Chu, please take a look around. If you need anything, feel free to contact me. Here's my business card." "Okay, Manager Wang, then go ahead." The eldest daughter took the card from Manager Wang and handed it to Lin Yi. Manager Wang looked at Lin Yi, a hint of surprise in his eyes. Rumor had it that Chu Pengzhan had found a son-in-law who was the company's second-largest shareholder, yet he had never attended a board meeting. Could this person next to the eldest daughter be the second-largest shareholder? But his attire was certainly shabby. Even so, Manager Wang didn't dare underestimate him. The rich have many vices. And then there was the young lady, wearing nothing more than the ordinary school-issued tracksuit. Her appearance gave no hint of her status. Chu Mengyao had no desire to continue shopping. She had nothing to buy, so she asked Chen Yashu, "Xiaoshu, what are we going to do now?" "I don't know. I was actually excited to see some fun head pulling, but that old woman is a liar," Chen Yashu complained, a little annoyed. "It's so boring. Let's go see what fun things to do." "What's there to do around here?" Chu Mengyao didn't think the commercial street had anything interesting. "Yes, there's the Shandy Wonderful Years arcade not far away. I'd like to check it out," Chen Yashu said. "What's so good about an arcade?" "There are a lot of thugs there." "It's dangerous?" Chu Mengyao said instinctively. Chen Yashu had wanted to go to the arcade before, but she had always refused with that excuse. "Now that we have Brother Arrow, we're not afraid anymore," Chen Yashu said. "If any thugs harass us, let Brother Arrow beat them up." Chu Mengyao was stunned by Chen Yashu's words. Indeed, with a great Lin Yi by her side, there really wasn't any danger. Ordinary thugs really couldn't do anything to Lin Yi. "Lin Yi, Xiaoshu wants to go to the arcade." Chu Mengyao looked at Lin Yi. Lin Yi was a little surprised. The young lady actually asked for his opinion? She had never been like this before. It seemed that after the incident at the hospital, the young lady had really changed. "Then go ahead. It's the weekend after all," Lin Yi was unconcerned. "Since we're out, it's okay to go and see." Lin Yi felt that if he let these two girls go back to paint the house, he would probably get into trouble. It would be better to let them go to the arcade to harm the NPCs. Chu Mengyao actually wanted to see what the arcade was like. She was so grown up, and if she told others that she had never been to an arcade, would they laugh? But this was indeed the life of Miss and Xiaoshu before they met Lin Yi, seemingly glamorous, but ultimately dull and boring. The three of them left the Pengzhan department store, and Lin Yi drove in the direction Chen Yashu had indicated, arriving at a large entertainment center that offered video games, billiards, and an internet cafe. Many young people were there, and the frequency of people coming and going indicated a booming business. The first floor of the entertainment center was half video game arcade and half billiards hall. Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu had never been there before, having only seen it on TV. "Lin Yi, why don't you buy some game coins?" Chu Mengyao, knowing they used them, said to Lin Yi. Lin Yi nodded and walked towards the bar. Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu, on the other hand, casually wandered around the arcade, looking for any fun games. Beautiful girl, want to play together? Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu were spotted by several delinquents at the entrance as soon as they entered. Once they were alone, someone approached them and started chatting them up. This was a red-haired young man. Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu were always the center of attention wherever they went. Although they were only wearing ordinary sportswear today, they exuded a student-like air, which made the delinquents think they didn't have a strong background. Chu Mengyao gave the red-haired young man a cold glance and ignored him. Chen Yashu, however, was curious. Hey, why is your hair red? Was it like this when you were a child? Hey, you want to know? I wouldn't mind taking you somewhere quiet so you can take a closer look, the red-haired young man said excitedly when he saw Chen Yashu, a busty girl, paying attention to him. I don't really want to know, Chen Yashu shook her head. I just think it looks ugly, like a turkey. The red-haired young man was immediately displeased when he heard Chen Yashu's harsh words. Little girl, what do you mean by that? If you don't want to play, then don't play. You don't have to curse at me, do you? Chu Mengyao was a little annoyed. This Chen Yashu was really a troublemaker. She always caused trouble when she came here. She should have stayed away if she had known. If it weren't for Lin Yi, the two of them would be in trouble. In reality, Chen Yashu wasn't stupid. If it weren't for Lin Yi, she wouldn't have caused trouble. The red-haired young man's words immediately attracted several delinquents, who surrounded Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu. What do you want? Chu Mengyao frowned, surprised by how brazen these people were. Aren't there any security here? Chu Mengyao had never been to a place like this before, so she naturally didn't know there were basically no security here. There were only a few thugs watching over the place, but they wouldn't come out unless there was a major disturbance. She cursed at our red-haired brother. What do you say we want? A bald delinquent, cigarette in his mouth, pointed at Chen Yashu and taunted her. Okay, then she's wrong. I'll apologize on her behalf. Is that okay? Chu Mengyao didn't want to cause trouble. Okay? Just like that? Let this girl play with our red-haired brother for a while, and we'll let it go, the bald man said. Don't push it too far. How could Chu Mengyao agree to such a request? Let Xiaoshu play with them? Too much? This is your first time here, right? If you don't know the rules, don't come again. But this time, you still have to follow the rules, Red Hair said calmly. Play a round of racing with me. I won't do anything to her, at most I'll touch her breasts. Otherwise, if people know that you've offended me, Red Hair, and can still leave without any problem, then it will be difficult for me, Red Hair, to survive in this place in the future. Chapter 833. Are you leaving now? Huh? Chu Mengyao's eyes widened. Wasn't that a bad idea? How could Xiaoshu be touched so casually by him? No, Chu Mengyao flatly rejected Hongmeo's proposal. I don't want to force it. That's pointless. Seeing Chu Mengyao's indifference, Hongmeo grew angry. I don't want to make a big deal out of this either. Chu Mengyao was referring to Lin Yi. If Lin Yi were to solve the current problem, these people would probably be lying on the ground. Okay, I'll give you another choice. One of you, race with me. If you win, this matter is over. If you lose, you two have to stay with me tonight. Hongmeo looked like he had Chu Mengyao in his corner. He'd heard Chu Mengyao's words and assumed she was scared, so he made an even more outrageous request. Everyone knew that Hongmeo was the driving god here, a rare rival in the racing simulator. Oh, what if you lose? Lin Yi had quietly appeared behind Hongmeo and whispered in his ear, startling him so much that his scalp almost exploded, thinking he'd seen a ghost. Red Hair turned around and saw Lin Yi, immediately angrily barking, Boy, where are you from? You want to meddle in other people's business? I'm with them, Lin Yi said calmly. Answer me, what if you lose? How could I lose? Red Hair sneered, as if he had heard something truly amusing. Since it's a competition, it has to be fair. If they lose, they stay with you for the night. What if you lose? Lin Yi ignored Red Hair's laughter and continued calmly. If they lose, they stay with me. If I lose, I stay with them. Red Hair laughed lewdly. If that's the case, then there's no need to compete. Let's go. Lin Yi turned to Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu and said, This guy is mentally retarded. He can't even understand simple logic. There's no point in winning a competition with such a fool. Oh, I think so too. Chen Yashu nodded in agreement. Now that Lin Yi was here, she was no longer afraid of Red Hair. Chu Mengyao also covered her mouth with her hands and smiled. Lin Yi's words were a bit irritating, But this red-haired guy was indeed a bit unreasonable. He was the one who came over to chat with her first, and she didn't provoke him. Kid, do you mean to leave just like that? Who do you think you are? The red-haired guy was a little annoyed by Lin Yi's attitude. He was a well-known figure in this game hall, and there were still people who dared to ignore him. Well, then, don't leave. Don't make trouble for yourself. Lin Yi ignored the red-haired guy. Lin Yi simply didn't take such people seriously. Chu Mengyao and Shen Yashu saw Lin Yi coming, and they also felt confident. They were about to leave with Lin Yi on either side. Brother Arrow, how many game coins did you buy? Is it enough for playing? Chen Yashu seemed to have forgotten about the red-haired guy and looked at the game coins in Lin Yi's hand excitedly. Damn it. Leave them here. Red Hair hadn't wanted to cause trouble in the arcade. After all, the owner had a powerful background. But with Lin Yi and the others acting so arrogantly, if Red Hair didn't take action, he'd be completely disgraced today. As he spoke, he reached out to grab Chen Yashu, but before his hand even touched her, someone grabbed him tightly, holding him still. I told you not to get yourself into trouble. Don't you understand? Lin Yi asked coldly, looking at Red Hair. Red Hair desperately tried to break free from Lin Yi's grip, but found his wrist as if clamped in a pair of iron pliers. Unable to move at all. He was terrified. Let me go. I'll fuck your mother. Crack. Lin Yi increased the pressure on his hand. Although Lin Yi didn't know who his mother was, Red Hair's words still infuriated him. A little more force would have broken Red Hair's wrist. Ouch! Red Hair screamed miserably, feeling as if Lin Yi was squeezing his wrist to pieces. Let go of Red Hair, brother. The bald guy saw that Red Hair's hand was pinched by Lin Yi, and he suddenly became anxious. Taking advantage of Lin Yi's right hand being unable to move, he punched Lin Yi from behind, preparing to attack Lin Yi. As long as Lin Yi felt pain, he would probably let go of Red Hair's arm. Lin Yi, be careful. Chu Mengyao was shocked and quickly reminded Lin Yi. The bald guy sneered in his heart, it's no use for you to remind him. Unless Lin Yi let go of Red Hair and turned around to block him, otherwise, it's inevitable that he would be hit by him. However, the bald guy's sneer did not last long. His expression froze, and then he flew backwards with a click. Lin Yi's leg kicked out backwards at an incredible angle and force, almost at a 90-degree angle behind him, kicking the bald guy out and hitting the wall of the game hall. The thugs who were eager to attack Lin Yi along with the bald guy were a little hesitant. The angle of this kick was a bit too unbelievable. Normal people could kick people from behind, but that had to be a certain close distance, and the force could not be very strong. It was impossible for Lin Yi to kick someone away with one kick. The red-haired guy was not stupid either. Just by looking at Lin Yi's move, he knew that Lin Yi was not easy to deal with. He knew that he might meet a tough guy this time, so his words were not as tough as before. Dude, where are you from? Who is your boss? Maybe he knows everyone. My boss is standing over there. Lin Yi pointed at Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu with his other hand. Chen Yashu even raised her hand and greeted the red-haired guy. Fuck, are you kidding me? The red-haired guy subconsciously thought that Lin Yi was kidding him. How could the boss be two women? Isn't this bullshit? Red Hair immediately erupted in anger. I don't care who you're with. Do you know who's running this place? This is owned by Zhou Guang's family. Are you causing trouble here because you're tired of living? Zhou Guang. Lin Yi was stunned. No wonder the Sunbyongdi Wonderful Years Entertainment Center sounded familiar when he entered earlier. It turned out to be owned by Zhu Xiandi. Meanwhile, Red Hair's men had already gone to fend for Zhou Guang. The situation here was beyond their control. Lin Yi's skills were evident. Baldy was lying on the ground, unconscious after being kicked by him, and Red Hair was also being held hostage. Unable to act rashly, his men had no choice but to seek help from Zhou Guang. Zhou Guang was furious. Today, a wealthy young man had arrived from the provincial capital, Donghae City. His father was discussing a business partnership with Zhou Guang's son, Zhu Xiandi, so Zhou Guang had been accompanying the young man at his own entertainment center. He was currently playing billiards when Red Hair's men interrupted him. Chapter 834. Is it wrong? What's going on? Zhou Guang asked the bald man with some impatience. Brother Guang, someone is causing trouble in the game hall in front, and Brother Red Hair has been caught by him. Can you go and take a look? The bald man said carefully. Jun Xiao, excuse me, I have to go and take a look. Zhou Guang heard from the bald man that someone was causing trouble in the game hall and had caught Brother Red Hair, so he couldn't just ignore it. Although Red Hair was not considered one of his subordinates, he was also one of the pillars of his game hall. He was good at simulated racing, and many people would come to challenge Red Hair, which greatly benefited the popularity of the game hall. "Oh, then, let's go check it out together." A handsome young man beside Zhu Ruoguang put down his pool cue and said, "Just playing billiards is pretty boring. Something interesting could spice things up." Seeing that Zheng Xiao didn't show any dissatisfaction, Zhu Ruoguang felt relieved and said, "Since Zheng Xiao is interested, let's go check it out together." Zheng Xiao's name was Zhen Yingzhen. His father, Zhen Dazhao, was a renowned entertainment tycoon in Donghae City, owning several entertainment complexes. His business aligns well with Zhu Ruoguang's, and the two families are currently discussing a possible partnership. Zhu Xiandi's business in Songshan City was hindered by Li Chihua's suppression, making further expansion impossible. The same was true for Zhen Dazhao. Although he was doing well in Donghae City, the city's ruthless forces were too numerous, hindering his development. So, the two headed off, planning to operate a gambling ship on the sea between Donghae and Songshan, and reap huge profits from illegal gambling. Of course, both men had started out in entertainment cities and were well versed in casino operations, understanding the profits. Furthermore, offshore gambling ships were relatively safe and could easily evade search, so making money shouldn't be a problem. However, Zhen Dazhao was clearly far more powerful than Zhu Ruoguang, and this time, the gambling ship was primarily run by Zhen Dazhao, with Zhu Xiandi as a supporting figure. Building a luxurious gambling ship was simply out of Zhu Xiandi's reach, so Zhu Xiandi only held a small stake, with a majority still in Zhen Dazhao's hands. This also led to Zhu Ruoguang being the one to flatter Zhen Yingzhen whenever he was with him. Zhu Ruoguang and Zhen Yingzhen followed a bald man out of the billiard hall and into the adjacent arcade. Following Zhu Ruoguang were several thug-like men, all his subordinates. If someone was causing trouble in the venue, Zhu Ruoguang couldn't possibly handle it himself, nor did he have the courage. He simply barked a few words and left the rest to his men. Today, Zhu Ruoguang was determined to show Zhen Yingzhen his impressive side, so upon entering the arcade, he shouted, "Who dares to cause trouble in my place, Zhu Ruoguang? Are you tired of living?" Lin Yi hadn't expected Zhu Ruoguang to arrive so quickly, but his presence saved him a lot of trouble. He pinched the red-haired man's arm, looked up at Zhu Ruoguang, and said calmly, "That's him. I caught him for you, Zhu Ruoguang was startled at the sound of Lin Yi's voice, then looked at him and realized that the person causing the trouble was actually Lin Yi. Zhu Ruoguang groaned inwardly. What a mess. Red-haired man was so blind. He could have provoked anyone else. But why did he have to provoke a god like Lin Yi? Wasn't he just bored? Brother Guang, save me. Seeing Zhu Ruoguang approach, Red-haired thought he was his savior and immediately cried for help. Zhu Ruoguang was immediately annoyed. What are you shouting for? I haven't even had time to disassociate myself from you, and I'm still saving you. Do you think I'm stupid? However, Zhu Ruoguang was quick to react. Hearing Lin Yi's words, he realized that it was Red Hair who had provoked Lin Yi, and he began to walk down the stairs. You, Red Hair, are obviously not a good person. How dare you cause trouble in my place? Come on, beat him to death, beat him until I can't recognize him. Which of Zhu Ruoguang's men didn't recognize Red Hair? At this moment, they were stunned by Zhu Ruoguang's order. Beat Red Hair? Brother Guang, was he wrong? So, they all looked at Zhu Ruoguang in confusion. Brother Guang, were you wrong? The bald man asked, somewhat puzzled. But Zhu Ruoguang ignored him and addressed his men. What are you all standing there looking at? Attack. We've kept you useless people, and you're the ones who fail at the crucial moment. Are you talking about beating Red Hair? Zhu Ruoguang's men finally came to their senses and asked weakly. Nonsense, hurry up and get on with it, Zhu Ruoguang said, not caring about Zhen Yingzhen anymore. In his eyes, Lin Yi was much more important than Zhen Yingzhen. If he didn't greet this great god well, he would be in trouble. So Zhu Ruoguang ran over with great respect. Great god Lin, you are here. Zhu Ruoguang's words made everyone present dumbfounded, especially the red-haired and bald-headed ones. They looked at Zhu Ruoguang stupidly. He knew Lin Yi? And this address was a bit too much, wasn't it? Puff Chen Yushu almost burst out laughing after hearing what Zhu Ruoguang called Lin Yi. Ha ha ha, Brother Arrow, how did you become a great god? I don't know. Lin Yi shook his head and let go of the red-haired one. At this moment, Red Hair didn't dare to do anything to Lin Yi. Instead, his face was filled with horror. Even a fool could see that Zhu Ruoguang was extremely respectful to Lin Yi. Fearing a beating, he could only plead with a bitter face, "Brother Guang, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I shouldn't have caused trouble, drag him away." Zhu Ruoguang was afraid of Lin Yi's anger and didn't have time to waste on red hair. With a wave of his hand, several of his men dragged red hair away. "Master Lin, I'm so sorry. There are always some blind thugs in this place. Please don't mind," Zhu Ruoguang said carefully to Lin Yi with a smile. "Oh, this is your family's business." Lin Yi didn't mind. Even if Zhu Ruoguang hadn't come, he wouldn't have minded. At most, he would have knocked red hair down. Yes, I was playing billiards over there. I heard you were here, Master Lin, so I hurried over to see if there was anything I could do for you," Zhu Ruoguang asked carefully. "Oh, there's nothing for you to do now. Go have some fun." Lin Yi waved his hand, signaling Zhu Ruoguang to leave. He and Zhu Ruoguang had nothing much to say to each other, and with him around, Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu would definitely have a hard time. "That's fine. If you need anything, you can always come find me in the billiard room next door." Zhu Ruoguang knew Lin Yi was sending him packing, but he was a little curious about the two pretty girls around Lin Yi. Why hadn't he seen them before? Chapter 835 Zheng Xiao's thoughts. He didn't know Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu, and Zhu Ruoming hadn't mentioned these matters when he got home. So Zhu Ruoguang didn't know Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu's identities, thinking they were just Lin Yi's friends. However, he didn't think much of it, simply assuming they had a casual relationship with Lin Yi. Since Lin Yi's conversation and behavior with them weren't particularly friendly, and since Lin Yi already had a girlfriend, Zhu Ruoguang wasn't as respectful to Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu as he was to Tang Yun. He simply greeted Lin Yi and left. "Brother Zhu, do you know that guy? What's his background that warrants such respect?" Zhen Yingzhen's gaze lingered on Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu, and he asked with a hint of jealousy towards Lin Yi. Based on his years of experience in picking up girls, he knew both women were top-notch. One was pure and beautiful, the other petite and adorable. Though dressed in ordinary sportswear, their beauty couldn't be concealed. Zhu Ruoguang was older than Zhen Yingzhen, so Zhen Yingzhen called him Brother Zhu. His name is Lin Yi. He's very skilled and not to be trifled with. Zhu Ruoguang felt a bit underwhelmed by the statement, but facing Lin Yi, he couldn't stand up to him. "Skilled? What's the point?" Zhen Yingzhen said with disdain. "No matter how skilled he is, he can't stand up to numbers. Don't give him any respect." "Number of numbers," Zhu Ruoguang said with a wry smile. "Please put it this way. Even our yellow rank master, Yanbo, was injured by him. He's a belligerent man with no future." Zhen Yingzhen remained dismissive. "Even if he can take on a yellow rank master, can he be more formidable than a gun? That's simply impossible." Zhen Yingzhen's family was also involved in the underworld, and a significant one at that, much larger than Zhu Xiandi's. They had a considerable arsenal of illegal guns. So, in his view, martial arts were nothing compared to guns and cannons. Zhu Ruoguang shrugged. Since Zhen Yingzhen didn't believe him, there was nothing he could say. After all, the two families were only in a cooperative relationship, with the Zhen family still in control. If he spoke too much, it would seem like something was wrong. "Those two girls are pretty good, aren't they as women?" Zhen Yingzhen asked, somewhat anxiously. "That doesn't seem to be the case." Zhu Ruoguang shook his head. "Lin Yi has a girlfriend. I've met her." "Oh, so they're just friends." Zhen Yingzhen nodded. "I like these two girls, Zheng Xiao. If you use normal means, it's fine, but it's best not to force them. I'm afraid that Lin Yi will interfere." Zhu Ruoguang had to remind Zhen Yingzhen. "I get it. Zhen Yingzhen, have picked up countless girls too. These are just two little girls, shouldn't they be easy to get?" Zhen Yingzhen didn't take Zhu Ruoguang's words seriously. In fact, he didn't take Lin Yi seriously at all. Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu played video games for a while, but found them boring. They were either racing or shooting games. They were boring, not as fun as the video game consoles at home. "Sister Yao, how's it going over there? How many levels have you cleared?" Chen Yashu, after using up her last game coin, stood up with a somewhat disinterested look. "This game is so boring. It's just one person constantly beating and beating. I don't really see the point. I don't know. It seems I haven't cleared a single level yet." Chu Mengyao wasn't much of a gaming expert. She was playing a side-scrolling game, and after a while, She was still on the first level. She had used up quite a few game coins. Lin Yi watched from the side with amusement. This arcade was just trying to scam novices like them. Many people could complete the game for just 1 coin. They couldn't even make money, let alone pay for electricity. Boring. Let's go check out another machine. Chen Yushu stood up, giving up on the idea of continuing. Okay, Chu Mengyao had come here with the intention of gaining some experience and knowledge. Whether she was good at the game was unimportant. Lin Yi didn't play, simply following behind Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu. While he hadn't played many of the games before, most of them tested one's reaction speed, making them easy for him. There's a lot of people over there, shall we go over and take a look? Chen Yushu noticed a corner of the arcade that was incredibly popular, with some people occasionally letting out cheers and frustrated noises. Lin Yi, Chu Mengyao, and Chen Yushu approached and discovered several slot machines. They were a variety of different machines, but their purpose was the same: gambling. This kind of thing was already illegal, but the huge profits made it a major source of income for many arcades, so it's no wonder Zhuoguang defied the law. While some people won money, most of them lost more than they won. Only a few managed to win a small amount, while the majority were dejected. Sister Yao, this looks fun? Should we try it? Chen Yushu thought it was much more enjoyable than those monster-killing games. Oshu, this looks like gambling. You can't go. Chu Mengyao, however, saw through it clearly, immediately grasping the true nature of the arcade. Just playing for fun, trying it out, not obsessing over it, Chen Yushu expressed curiosity. Let her try. Lin Yi was quite confident in Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu's self-control. The two girls had no bad habits, nor were they particularly obsessed with anything. Lin Yi figured Chen Yushu would just find it fun for a while, but after a few tries, she'd get bored. After all, they weren't short of money, and they didn't care about it, so they struggled to enjoy the thrill of winning or losing. Oh, Brother Arrow said it's okay, Chen Yushu said pitifully. Then these last few coins. If you lose them all, you're not allowed to play anymore. Chu Mengyao hesitated before handing the remaining coins to Chen Yushu. Chen Yushu took the coins and happily went to play the slot machine. Expecting to win money with just a few coins was clearly unrealistic. The result was much as Lin Yi had anticipated. Chen Yushu had deposited 4 or 5 coins, all of which went to waste. Now, only 1 coin remained. It's all gone already. Chen Yushu looked at the last coin in her hand, feeling slightly annoyed. At least let me win once, right? Lin Yi shrugged. Although he knew a lot, he couldn't control a slot machine. Electronic equipment like that must have a controlled terminal, and it was impossible for Lin Yi to find it and modify the data quickly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 836. I'm interested. Okay, Oshu, this is the last game coin. Don't play this anymore after you finish playing. Chu Mengyao had already anticipated this result, so there was no special expression on her face. Chu Mengyao was born in a wealthy family. She had heard about some uncles and aunts going to Macau to gamble. Most of them lost money and returned home disappointed. So Chu Mengyao understood from a very young age that gambling was mostly a scam. Chen Yushu reluctantly put the last game coin into the slot machine, but the result was still tragic. The game coin was swallowed by the machine again. Looking at the game coins spit out from other people's machines, Chen Yushu was very angry and kicked the slot machine in front of him. Bang! The slot machine didn't budge at all. Chen Yushu's ankle ached with pain, and she was furious. What a piece of crap. It's a scam. I'm known as Shu, the one with the best luck. How come I haven't won once? Okay, Oshu, I've already told you, these things are a scam. You don't believe me? Chu Mengyao laughed and said, 9 out of 10 gambling losses, don't touch this kind of thing anymore. Oh, Chen Yushu agreed with Chu Mengyao in her heart, but she was clearly a little unwilling. Brother Arrow, help me beat it, huh? Lin Yi glanced at the slot machine with a strange expression after hearing Chen Yushu's words. He pointed at himself, then at the slot machine, and asked, it, yeah, Chen Yushu nodded. How? Chen Yushu's words resonated with Lin Yi. He walked over and kicked the slot machine's coin slot. The circuitry inside the slot machine was simple, and the entire machine was incredibly light. Lin Yi's kick sent it hopping, and the coin dispenser was broken, sending coins cascading down the machine. As for Chen Yushu's earlier kick, it couldn't compare to Lin Yi's. "This is the only way to win money with this thing," Lin Yi said, pointing to the machine chugging away. Since this thing was illegal, Lin Yi felt no compunction in destroying it. "Oh, it finally dispenses coins. Brother Arrow is awesome." Chen Yushu didn't care about the few coins she'd lost, but was just a little bit unconvinced, as if she'd been tricked by a scammer. Now that Lin Yi had avenged her, she naturally shouted with joy. Lin Yi's kick terrified the nearby players. They'd never heard of anyone doing something like that in the arcade. Wasn't that courting death? Taking the thugs who were watching over the place so lightly? However, once these people saw that it was Lin Yi, they fell silent. Having previously witnessed Zhu Ruoguang's attitude toward Lin Yi, they all acted as if it was none of their business, and no one bothered to care about Lin Yi. The manager of the arcade heard the loud noise and rushed over to witness the scene, but he didn't disturb Lin Yi. Instead, he ran into the billiard hall across the street, found Zhu Ruoguang, and told him what had happened. Zhu Ruoguang, after hearing this, didn't think it was a big deal. Instead, he said with relief, "Okay, I get it. They only smashed a slot machine. I'm glad they didn't smash the casino." Upon hearing Zhu Ruoguang's words, the arcade manager nodded and ran back, feeling thankful that he hadn't intervened. It seemed that Zhu Ruoguang had no intention of stopping Lin Yi. As for the game coins on the ground, Chen Yushu didn't really care. She just felt relieved. Whether or not she could exchange them for cash at the bar wasn't a big deal. She was also tired of the games there and didn't plan to continue playing, so the coins were useless. "Sister Yao, how about we go to the billiard hall across the street? What do you think?" Chen Yushu had given up on the entertainment options at the arcade because she really couldn't find anything fun there. "Billiard hall? Zia Oshu, can you play billiards?" Chu Mengyao asked, somewhat puzzled. "No, but I've seen them on TV. The players are so cool. It should be fun, right?" Chen Yushu simply wanted to see it. "Okay," Chu Mengyao nodded, not objecting. Early billiard halls were shabby in both ambience and facilities, and were mostly frequented by small-time hooligans. However, with the rise of international billiards competitions, billiards gradually gained popularity and became a popular pastime for some successful individuals. Of course, the billiard hall in the entertainment city was still a mixed bag, with punks and some wealthy young men frequenting the place. As for successful individuals, they were fewer, as they all had their own clubs and didn't need to come to such a public entertainment center. Lin Yi, Chu Mengyao, and Chen Yushu arrived at the billiard room across from the game hall. Despite Lin Yi's previous commotion, Zhu Ruoguang hadn't done anything to him. Instead, he had been very respectful, which the punks who came to play there saw. As a result, those who had improper thoughts about Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu had to put them aside, lest they cause unnecessary trouble. Like red hair, being labeled a celebrity wasn't worth it. However, there was one exception. His interest in Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu didn't fade away, instead, it intensified. This person was Zhen Yingjin. The more he looked at Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu, the more he saw them as truly exceptional. Such a gem is hard to come by. In such a large school, finding just one is a rare sight. Now, having met two at once, Zhen Yingjin felt incredibly lucky. He felt like fate had blessed him, gifting him two beautiful girls at once. Furthermore, with his discerning eye, Zhen Yingjin noticed that Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu were most likely virgins, untouched by men. Such girls were the pinnacle of the best. Zhen Yingjin felt he would be betraying heaven's will if he didn't take action. Zhu Ruoguang also noticed Zhen Yingjin's somewhat obsessed gaze and frowned. Honestly, he didn't want to offend Lin Yi. He knew Lin Yi was someone he couldn't afford to offend, and he couldn't afford to offend Zhen Yingjin either. Rumor has it that the Zhen family is quite powerful in the East China Sea, commanding a renowned underworld gang called the Firearms Team. Every member of their group carries a pistol. They're real gangsters, and a thug like Zhu Ruoguang couldn't even begin to match them. Mr. Jun, are you really interested? Zhu Ruoguang asked carefully. Chapter 837 Billiards Challenge. Of course. Why are you still afraid of that Lin Yi? Zhen Yingjin said with some disdain. Since she's not even his girlfriend, what does it have to do with him? Besides, I know everything. No need to force it. In Songshan City, I'll give you, Brother Zhu, a favor. Honestly, Zhen Yingjin didn't take Lin Yi seriously at all. A yellow rank or green rank expert was nothing in the eyes of his father's musketeers. A single shot could take him down, so why was he so cautious? With Zhen Yingjin's insistence, Zhu Ruoguang had no choice. Fortunately, as long as Zhen Yingjin didn't force it, Lin Yi wouldn't blame him. Zhu Ruoguang could only play it safe. Whether Zhen Yingjin would provoke Lin Yi's displeasure was none of his business. After all, the two families were just collaborating. Lin Yi asked for a billiard table, paid the fee, and sat quietly watching Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu play. Although it was their first time playing billiards, they had seen billiards matches on TV, so they could mimic the moves pretty well. As for the rules, neither of them knew much, but since they weren't professionals, there was no need to follow them. They each took turns playing with a ball of their suit, and whoever got their suit's ball into the hole first won. Zhen Yingjin watched Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu playing over there, and a sudden inspiration struck him. He came up with a way to strike up a conversation, so he stood up and walked over. "Ladies, do you need a billiards coach?" Zhen Yingjin tried to make his smile look casual and sincere. He could tell from the sidelines that both Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu were new to the game, practically beginners playing for the first time, which was why he came up with this approach. Chu Mengyao glanced at Zhen Yingjin, a little curious. Hadn't he seen what happened to that red-haired girl? Why did he dare to approach her? Chen Yashu didn't think so much. She was having fun and scored several balls by chance. When she was happy, she was interrupted by Zhen Yingjin. She was immediately unhappy, frowned and waved her hands, saying, "I am very good, I don't need you to teach me." Zhen Yingjin was not discouraged. He still stood there and introduced himself. "My name is Zhen Yingjin, and I am the vice president of the Donghae City Billiards Association. I have also won many awards in the provincial billiards competitions." Oh, Chen Yashu was stunned, looked at Zhen Yingjin, and then said to Chu Mengyao, "Sister Yao, what did he say?" "He said he was really handsome." Chu Mengyao was speechless. There are people with such a big face. When they meet someone for the first time, they praise himself for being handsome. Does he have any sense of shame? Handsome? Not that handsome, not even as handsome as Brother Arrow. Chen Yashu looked at Zhen Yingjin carefully for a few times, then waved his hand impatiently. "Hey, get out of the way, don't disturb me playing." Zhen Yingjin was immediately furious. These two girls actually ignored him? In the billiards world of the province, how many billiard players don't know his real name, Zhen Yingjin? But he suddenly remembered that these two girls should be playing billiards for the first time, so it was normal for them not to know his name, so he suppressed his anger and continued, "My name is Zhen Yingjin, not that I am really handsome." "Oh, so, then you have some self-awareness, but in this case, why don't you change your name to Zhen Ugly?" Chen Yashu said strangely. "Ahem. Let's not discuss this issue, let's talk about billiards first." Zhen Yingjin was unhappy. "Even if I'm not really handsome, I'm not really ugly. I'm one of the most handsome guys with my appearance, right?" He didn't want to talk about this topic anymore, so he shifted the topic back to billiards. "Billiards is not played like this, it should be like this. Ah, are you annoying?" Chen Yashu was annoyed when she saw Zhen Yingjin making such a fuss beside her. "I am known as the Queen of Billiards, do I need you to teach me? Get out of the way here, you are so good, and you still want to teach me. How am I good?" Zhen Yingjin was squeezed by Chen Yashu, and he was immediately furious. He was not stupid. Since Zhu Ruoguang said that Lin Yi was very powerful, he would not provoke Lin Yi blatantly. After all, he was alone and weak, and was no match for Lin Yi, so he maintained a normal attitude when picking up girls, and did not want to use force like Hong Mao. "I am the vice president of the Donghae City Billiards Association." "Oh, I've had plenty of vice presidents defeated." Chen Yashu truly found Zhen Yingjin annoying. She knew exactly what he was up to, but his approach was rather gentle, so she couldn't really do anything about it. What? Zhen Yingjin was practically infuriated by Chen Yashu. He prided himself on his billiards prowess, and while his original intention was to pick up girls, how could he accept someone insulting his greatest skill? In the Donghae City Billiards Association, he was a star-studded figure, but here, a complete novice actually speaking such arrogant words to him was a profound insult. "Alright, do you dare challenge me to a duel?" Zhen Yingjin said to Chen Yashu, suppressing his anger. "Why should I?" Chen Yashu retorted. Zhen Yingjin was speechless. Chen Yashu's question was a bit difficult for him to answer. Yes, why did Chen Yushu challenge him? Okay, stop interrupting my game. Chen Yushu ignored Zhen Yingjin and waved him off, continuing to play billiards with Chu Mengyao. Lin Yi, sitting nearby, observed all of this, but he didn't intervene. Although Zhen Yingjin had shown signs of ill intentions toward Chen Yushu and Chu Mengyao, he hadn't done anything out of line, so there was no need for Lin Yi to intervene. In this situation, Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu could handle it on their own. If Lin Yi had to intervene in everything, even such simple matters, they would be like flowers in a greenhouse, which wouldn't be conducive to their growth. He would eventually leave, and he couldn't protect them forever, could he? Although Lin Yi sometimes felt the urge to protect these two beautiful girls, he knew the difference between fantasy and reality. Putting aside whether Tang Yun would agree, even if she did, he couldn't let her live with the eldest daughter and Chen Yushu? And then bring the old man over? A whole family living happily together, leading a carefree life from now on? It sounds beautiful, but it seems unrealistic. Chapter 838, Living Billiards. However, there was something a little off about the way Chen Yushu and Chu Mengyao were handling the situation. Provoking an enemy wasn't the right way to solve the problem. Was it because he felt safe with Chen Yushu? Lin Yi had always believed that Chen Yushu wasn't stupid, but rather intelligent. It was likely that Chen Yushu, now with him by her side, had no qualms about provoking Zhen Yingjin. 10,000 yuan for a match, dare you? Zhen Yingjin, furious at being ignored for his proudest pool skills, was immediately enraged. But we don't have that much money, so we can't compete with you, Chen Yushu said with some regret. You don't need to pay. If you lose, just admit that I'm a great player and learn to play pool with me. Zhen Yingjin wasn't stupid. He didn't just say something silly like, if you lose, you have to sleep with me. He believed that picking up girls should be done gradually. Oh, Chen Yushu thought about it, thinking that this was still a good deal. Turning to Chu Mengyao, she asked, Sister Yao, should we compete with him? Compete for what? Are you sure you can win? Chu Mengyao wasn't sure she could beat Zhen Yingjin. Zhen Yingjin's boasts about his billiard skills were probably true, so she had no intention of competing against him. I don't know, Chen Yushu thought. The two of them might not be able to beat Zhen Yingjin alone, but she'd already boasted before. If she didn't compete now, it would seem she was afraid of him. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but look up at Lin Yi. Brother Arrow, can we win? Maybe. Lin Yi shrugged. Okay, we'll compete with you. But it's just me and Sister Yao competing together. If we win, you have to give us 10,000 yuan each. Hearing Lin Yi's words, Chen Yushu assumed he was completely confident, so she nodded and accepted Zhen Yingjin's challenge. Lin Yi smiled wryly. He hadn't finished his words yet. He wanted to say, maybe, maybe not, but Chen Yushu interrupted him. Okay, no problem, money wasn't a problem for Zhen Yingjin. How do we compete? Snooker. What's snooker? Chen Yushu didn't understand. It's just a way of playing billiards, Zhen Yingjin sneered inwardly. You don't even know what snooker is, and you dare to compete with me? Isn't that courting death? Oh, if you're competing with me, then of course you're competing with my way of playing. Chen Yushu didn't care. Our way of playing is, each person has a different suit, and whoever knocks their ball out of the game first wins. Is that so? Zhen Yingjin thought to himself. This is similar to trick billiards, except that some of the rules of adding and subtracting points are missing. But it doesn't matter, he can still easily beat the two girls this way. Okay, whatever you say, we'll compete. As the saying goes, an expert can tell the winner with just one move. Although Zhen Yingjin was a personal annoyance to Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu, his tennis skills were excellent. From the start, without a doubt, Zhen Yingjin pocketed every ball of his suit, while Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu only managed one, and that too by sheer luck. How was it? Zhen Yingjin hadn't expected such an easy win. These two were clearly complete rookies, completely lacking any skill in playing with complete haphazardness. Regular matches are best of 3, and you only won one. What's so great about that? Chen Yushu was stunned. Did it Wrigley say she could win? How did she lose? Anxiously, she turned to look at Lin Yi. Okay, best of 3, then. Zhen Yingjin didn't mind. With Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu's poor skills, they would definitely lose even if they played 100 games. So Zhen Yingjin didn't mind winning 1 or 2 games. He felt he had already secured victory, so he wanted to make these two girls lose with conviction. Next game, I'll hit 1 shot, and you two can each hit 1. As long as you both get your suits into the pocket together, you win. After winning a game, Zhen Yingjin knew the true level of Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu, so he didn't mind making big promises. Okay, Chen Yashu didn't have much confidence this time. She had hoped that Lin Yi would help her turn the tide, but in the end, Lin Yi didn't show up, and she lost without a doubt. Lin Yi had no choice but to get up and walk over, standing next to the billiard table, with his hands on it. What are you doing? Zhen Yingjin didn't expect Lin Yi to suddenly intervene in this matter. He had always behaved like a gentleman, never using force. Why was Lin Yi meddling in his business? Nothing, just come and take a look, Lin Yi said calmly. Why, you guys are playing, and I can't even watch? I want to see if you're cheating, okay? Just watch, watch. Zhen Yingjin heard that Lin Yi was just watching, and Lin Yi also said he wanted to see if he was cheating, so Zhen Yingjin didn't care about Lin Yi anymore. What could he tell? Besides, if he drove him away, it would make him look guilty of cheating. Before, Zhen Yingjin thought Lin Yi was going to play for Chu Mengyao or Chen Yashu, but Zhen Yingjin would definitely not agree to that because Zhen Yingjin didn't know Lin Yi's level. Who would know if he was a billiards expert? How could he let Lin Yi ruin the beauty that was so close to his grasp? But Lin Yi had no intention of intervening, and Zhen Yingjin ignored him, saying directly to Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu, you start first. I'll give you 3 strokes. Normally, a pool expert could pocket a ball right from the start, but Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu clearly couldn't. They didn't have the skill, so the opening round offered them no advantage. However, Zhen Yingjin had already stated that he would give Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu 3 strokes. That would give them 6 strokes each, a significant handicap and a clear sign of Zhen Yingjin's arrogance. Bang! Chen Yashu teed off, hitting the balls in the middle of the table in a chaotic manner, but not a single one landed in the pocket. Then, Chu Mengyao took the next step. She also aimed for a ball of her own suit, but due to poor accuracy and power, the distance from the pocket varied greatly. Then, Chen Yashu took the court again. While her effort didn't land the ball of her own color, it did send it careening back and forth across the table, almost as if alive. Chen Yashu was stunned, as was Chu Mengyao. Zhen Yingjin, standing nearby, was also aghast. What the hell was going on? The ball wouldn't stop. How could Chen Yashu possibly have such immense power? She'd hit the ball like this, and yet it wouldn't stop? Chapter 839 You're doomed if you show your power. But despite Zhen Yingjin's confusion, Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu's doubts, the billiard ball struck by Chen Yashu's cue ball showed no sign of stopping. As if powered by a motor, it continued to whirl back and forth across the table with unwavering power. While it didn't go into the hole, it did knock other balls into the hole, some of Chen Yashu's, but also Zhen Yingjin's. Zhen Yingjin had played billiards for so many years, but he'd never seen anything like this before. This wasn't a billiard ball, it was a bouncy ball. Even the strongest player couldn't hit a billiard ball with such force, right? Chu Mengyao stared at the unruly ball on the table with a touch of surprise. Then she looked up at Chen Yashu, who was also filled with inexplicable excitement. She immediately understood that this wasn't Xiaoshu's doing. After years of being sisters, she could already tell what she was thinking from her expression. While she couldn't completely discern it, she could still discern even the most insignificant, superficial thoughts. Turning back to look at Lin Yi, Chu Mengyao was slightly startled by the wry smile on his face. A thought crossed her mind, could it be Lin Yi's doing? Xiaoshu had been playing for so long, but hadn't managed to hit such a bouncy ball, and yet, as soon as Lin Yi showed up, he'd already hit one? A thoughtful expression crossed Chu Mengyao's face at this thought. Her guess was correct, it was indeed Lin Yi's doing. Lin Yi wasn't entirely sure how to help Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu win, he was just experimenting. Lin Yi's first thought was his own strange true key, or what Elder Jiao called energy. Since this energy was omnipotent, could it be used to transfer energy to the billiard balls? According to the law of conservation of energy, energy can neither be created nor destroyed, it can only be transformed from one form to another, or transferred from one object to another. During this transformation or transfer, the total amount of energy remains constant. This meant that Lin Yi's energy could quite possibly be converted into the kinetic energy needed for the billiard balls. Of course, Lin Yi's energy didn't just appear out of thin air, nor did this Henki of any other expert. Their Henki came from the spiritual energy of nature, and the mental formulas they cultivated were simply a method of transforming that energy into their own Zhenki. They were simply transforming the natural energy into physical energy. Lin Yi's energy, on the other hand, came entirely from the jade pendant's internal space, where he transformed it into his own energy. So, after Chen Yushu had struck the billiard ball, Lin Yi wanted to test whether his energy could be harnessed by it. He placed his hands on the billiard table and activated the Xuanyuan Yulong Jue. Suddenly, the billiard ball, as if injected with chicken blood, became immensely powerful, its inner universe erupting. It worked. However, it was Lin Yi's first time doing this, and he hadn't properly controlled the amount of energy he was sending out. In a split second, the energy was gone. How much energy could a small billiard ball consume to move? Just a tiny amount was enough. If Lin Yi had used too much, the ball would have naturally begun to move endlessly. However, although this experiment was somewhat of a failure, Lin Yi had confirmed the feasibility of his manipulation. Surprisingly, his energy only acted on objects that were consuming energy, while the other stationary billiard balls and the billiard board on the table did not absorb the energy. As for the billiard balls that were subsequently struck by this bouncy ball, because Lin Yi had stopped practicing the mental formula early on, the energy only acted on this one ball. Oh my god, I'm so awesome. I can even hide a ball like this. I'm such a genius, Chen Yushu exclaimed in amazement. I'm such a genius. I'm so good at everything. Impossible. How is this possible? It doesn't make sense. Is there something wrong with this ball? Zhen Yingjin couldn't believe Chen Yushu could hit the ball with such an effect. Even a professional billiards player couldn't hide a ball this bouncy. It was completely unbelievable. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it's impossible. Chen Yushu looked at Zhen Yingjin with disdain. I told you, it's easy and fun for me to defeat you. I let you go in the last round, but once I show my power in this round, you're finished. If you don't agree, you can also hit a ball like this and show everyone. Chen Yushu's awesome billiards has attracted most of the players in the billiard room. They have never seen such an amazing billiard ball. It has been jumping back and forth on the billiard table for more than a minute and there is no sign of stopping. Everyone exclaimed in amazement, but also felt a little unbelievable. They felt that anyone who could hide a ball like this must be a master among masters. Zhen Yingjin was so angry that his face turned blue, but he really couldn't refute it, because he really couldn't hide a ball like this. Zhen Yingjin twisted his lips and said somewhat unhappily, it's just a blind cat catching a dead mouse. Hit another one and let me see, why should I hit it again? If I hit a ball like this, all the balls of your suit will be pocketed. Am I not helping you? Chen Yushu was not sure if she could hide a ball like this again. She seemed very confident now, but in fact, she was just making it up. She was also wondering in her heart whether Brother Wrigley was helping her, so she was not going to say it for sure. If I hit it again, even if I win, you just admit defeat. That's better than nothing. Although Zhen Yingjin didn't believe that Chen Yushu could hide a ball like this again, he didn't dare to say it for sure. What if Chen Yushu hit it again? Wouldn't he have to admit defeat then? Seeing the crowd watching, Zhu Ruoguang also wanted to go and see what was going on, but after taking a look, he backed off. Oh my god, can billiards be played like this? He has been running this entertainment center for many years and is considered a billiards expert, but he has never seen billiards like this before. This wasn't just billiards, it was a miracle. Only with the presence of Master Lin could such a thing happen. He and his father had already lived under Lin Yi's shadow, believing him to be omnipotent. So, Zhu Ruoguang felt this was normal. Chen Yushu's billiard balls finally stopped, but nearly half had already been pocketed. Some of these were Zhen Yingjin's, while others were Chen Yushu's. But overall, Chen Yushu still had one or two more balls. Chapter 840 hit the ball away. Chen Yushu was still very excited. This way, he still had the upper hand. After Chen Yushu finished, it was Chu Mengyao's turn. Lin Yi had managed to control his energy this time, so Chu Mengyao's shot, aside from a slightly stronger shot, seemed flawless. Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief. He was using this energy quite well. Chen Yushu's turn came again, but she didn't suffer the same fate as before. It was another unremarkable shot, which made Zhen Yingjin feel relieved. It seemed that Chen Yushu's previous shot had been a fluke, otherwise she might have hit the same shot again. Zhen Yingjin's turn was finally over, and he felt proud. Judging from the current state of the ball, he was sure to win. With his skills, this was no big deal. Zhen Yingjin calmly found his first target, then leaned down and gracefully pushed the cue ball forward. The moment Zhen Yingjin's cue impacted the cue ball, Lin Yi channeled his energy. As a result, Zhen Yingjin's cue ball whooshed and flew off the billiard table like a rocket. He hit a beautiful jump shot. Before everyone could react, the cue ball hit a bystander in the face with a bang, causing his nose to bleed and 2 of his front teeth to fall out. The man howled in pain, then widened his eyes and pointed at Zhen Yingjin and cursed, "Fuck you, don't you have eyes? Where are you hitting? You knocked your grandfather's front teeth loose. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Although Zhen Yingjin was usually arrogant, he knew that he was in Songshan City now, not his territory in Donghe, and it was unwise to cause trouble here. Besides, he was based on the principle of picking up girls in a civilized manner and could not be too rude, so he could only take out his wallet apologetically, count out 3,000 yuan and give it to the man. "This is medical expenses, my compensation to you." The man was also an unemployed vagrant who had no work all day. When he saw the 3,000 yuan, his eyes lit up, and he took Zhen Yingjin's money, then stopped complaining and stood aside with his hands covering his mouth. Zhen Yingjin didn't have time to waste with these people at this time. His main purpose was to defeat Chen Yushu and Chu Mengyao, and then prove that he could teach them the skills, so he spent money to avoid disaster. What bad luck! Zhen Yingjin thought to himself that he was a little anxious and accidentally used too much strength to hit the ball, and suddenly hit a jumping ball. However, this jumping ball is not something that ordinary people can hit. It's still very impressive that he hit one unintentionally. It seems that he was just a little careless and did not control the amount of force, which caused the current situation. Next time, he must be more serious. "Okay, it's my turn." Chen Yushu waited for Zhen Yingjin to make a fool of himself, then took another cue ball and placed it on the billiard table, ready to start. Chen Yushu aimed at a billiard ball and hit it out. It must be said, however, that Chen Yushu's angle on the billiards was excellent. The cue ball struck a ball of Chen Yushu's suit and pushed it forward, nearly landing in a pocket. However, due to lack of power, the ball lost momentum just before reaching the pocket. Go, go, go! Chen Yushu frantically observed the billiards ball slowing down, on the verge of stopping at the pocket. Lin Yi smiled faintly and channeled some energy into it. Suddenly, as if on steroids, the billiards ball, about to stop, soared into the hole. Huh? Zhen Yingjin was smug, ready to lecture Chen Yushu on the power required for playing billiards. The ball before him seemed poised to pop with just a little more force, but Chen Yushu's lack of power had led to the current situation. Zhen Yingjin had never expected Chen Yushu's ball to suddenly unleash its power before stopping, going straight into the hole. What was going on? Was someone tampering? But she couldn't. So many people were gathered around the billiard table. If Chen Yushu did anything, others would surely notice. Even if they couldn't, she had been staring at the billiard ball, so how could she not notice anything wrong? Wow, ha ha ha! Chen Yushu danced with joy as she saw the ball land in the pocket. "I told you I'm the billiard goddess, Shu. Look, one more effort would have been wasted, one less would have been a waste. Now it's just right, not more, not less." Chu Mengyao had felt something was amiss. How could a billiards expert like Zhen Yingjin suddenly hit such an incredible shot? And even hit the onlookers? Looking at Chen Yushu's ball again, it was clearly about to stop, but suddenly it moved again and ran into the pocket by itself. Chu Mengyao couldn't help but suspect that all this was Lin Yi's doing. Although she didn't know how Lin Yi did it, she was aware of Lin Yi's magic. "That shot of yours is actually quite dangerous," Zhen Yingjin could only say. "It was a little close. You should use a little more force next time." "A little more force? Like you, hitting someone in the face?" Chen Yushu glanced at Zhen Yingjin and asked back. Gah! Zhen Yingjin's face flushed red after being prodded by Chen Yushu. He gritted his teeth, snorted, and said nothing more. It was Chu Mengyao's turn to play. Chu Mengyao also played casually. It was her first time playing billiards, and she had no skills. Since she knew Lin Yi was helping, she knew that Lin Yi would definitely make a move at the right time. The ball Chu Mengyao hit had no chance of going into the hole, but it had struck another billiard ball in its motion, a ball of the same suit as Chu Mengyao's. Lin Yi's prediction was that it would go into the hole, so after the first ball came to a stop, Lin Yi channeled some energy into it. This ball, like Chen Yushu's, was about to run out of steam when it suddenly resumed its motion and entered the pocket. Zhen Yingjin was truly stunned. What was going on? Was it a paranormal event? There was no other explanation. Tampering with the table was unlikely, as everyone was standing near it. It was impossible for anyone to touch the balls on the table. How could they have done that? Chapter 841 Genius Shu. This billiard room was opened by Zuruog Wang, and Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu were just guests who came here to play. It was even more impossible that the problem was with a billiard table. Thinking of this, Zhen Yingjin broke out in a cold sweat. He was a superstitious person. Seeing such an incredible thing, he subconsciously thought that there might be some unclean things at work. Chu Mengyao was also a little confused. She didn't quite believe that the ball she had just hit was hit by her. Her eyes turned from the billiard table to Lin Yi's face, trying to find some clues, but Lin Yi still looked calm and composed, with his hands resting on the billiard table, as if he had not moved at all. However, although on the surface, Lin Yi did not seem to have any suspicions, Chu Mengyao knew that Lin Yi was actually a big suspect. Yet, Sister Yao is so amazing, she is on par with me, the genius Shu, Chen Yashu shouted excitedly. Zhen Yingjin's face was very ugly. He just didn't believe it. How could he, the vice president of the Donghae City Billiards Association, lose to two beginners? Seeing that there were only 3 billiard balls left on Chu Mengyao's side of the table, Zhen Yingjin couldn't help but feel anxious. He couldn't let Chu Mengyao and the others score again. Fortunately, the rule they had set before was that each person would play one shot, and there was no such thing as consecutive shots, so no matter whether a goal was scored or not, they would not hit the ball continuously. It was Zhen Yingjin's turn to play, and this time Zhen Yingjin didn't dare to be careless. He didn't take it seriously before and hide a jump ball. Zhen Yingjin remembered that he didn't use much strength. Could it be that he was distracted at the time? This time, Zhen Yingjin was careful and used normal strength to hit the cue ball. But the cue ball flew out again with a whoosh, turned into a jump ball, and hit the person on the opposite side. Bang! This time, the blow didn't hit anyone's face, but hit a muscular man's chest. The muscular man cried out ouch, immediately covered his chest, and pointed at Zhen Yingjin angrily. You little punk, do you know how to play basketball? Did you do it on purpose? You hit someone before, and now you hit me? Do you have eyes? Zhen Yingjin was also a little dumbfounded. When did he become so powerful? It was just an ordinary hit. How did this ball become a jump ball? He flew out and hit someone else again? But he really didn't use much strength. Zhen Yingjin didn't know what was going on. He felt that he didn't use much strength. What happened? What? Dare to do it but not to take responsibility? Don't talk anymore, the muscular man said relentlessly. Zhen Yingjin glanced at the muscular man and thought to himself, you are like this, I would have found someone to kill you in Donghae City, and you are still arrogant to me? But this was Songshan City, and he didn't want to cause trouble. He frowned, muttering to himself, bad luck. He pulled out his wallet, counted out another 3,000 yuan, and handed it to the muscular man. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. This is medical expenses, that's more than enough. The muscular man actually wanted money too. He was tough, and his injuries were much less serious than the guy who was hit in the face before. Just a few bruises, nothing serious. But seeing that Zhen Yingjin had already paid to get rid of the disaster, how could he pass up such a good opportunity to extort money? Okay, my turn again. Chen Yashu excitedly took another cue ball and placed it on the table. You're really good. You can hit such a difficult flying shot twice in a row. That's amazing, not bad, Zhen Yingjin said, a little annoyed. I told you to hit it, but you couldn't. I can hit it, but you don't. If you hit someone, you have to pay. Chen Yashu curled her lips and looked at Zhen Yingjin with contempt. HMPH. If you can hit it, and you injure someone, it's my credit. Zhen Yingjin didn't believe Chen Yashu could also hit a jump ball. That was simply impossible. Really? If I hit someone, it's your credit? Chen Yashu asked. Yes, it's a jump ball. Without years of billiards experience, it's impossible to hit it. To save face, Zhen Yingjin could only explain his mistake as a professional and difficult skill. Okay, since it's a jump ball, then I can't hit anything else. If I hit the jump ball, you have to count it as my score, Chen Yashu said. How about it? Okay. No problem, as long as you hit the jump ball, I'll count it as your score. Zhen Yingjin didn't believe Chen Yashu could hit a jump ball at all, but what if you don't hit it? Then I'll take out a ball of my own suit. Chen Yashu thought for a moment and said. She wasn't worried about not being able to hit the jump ball, because Chen Yashu didn't believe Zhen Yingjin had hit those 2 jump balls himself. In her opinion, it must have been Wrigley's trick, so if he could hit the ball, she could also hit it. So Chen Yashu didn't mind making a bet with Zhen Yingjin. Okay, it's a deal. Go ahead. Zhen Yingjin was a little proud, thinking, you can't hit the jump ball even if you work yourself to death. I'm a kind person and can't bear to hit innocent people. So, how about I aim at you, Chen Yashu said, aiming the cue ball in Zhen Yingjin's direction. HMPH, whatever you want. It's better to hit me, then you don't have to pay, Zhen Yingjin said nonchalantly. How could he possibly believe Chen Yashu could hide him? Unless you throw it with your hands, it's impossible to hit it with a cue stick. Without saying anything, Chen Yashu aimed the cue ball at Zhen Yingjin and hit it out. Whoosh, the cue ball took off again, smashing straight into Zhen Yingjin's face. Zhen Yingjin hadn't expected Chen Yashu to hide a jump ball, so he didn't even try to dodge. By the time he realized something was wrong, it was too late. The cue ball had already smashed into Zhen Yingjin's forehead with a thud, creating a massive hole in his head. He was so dizzy that he almost fell over. Ah, Zhen Yingjin screamed, impossible. Absolutely impossible. This can't be true. You can't hide a jump ball. The spectators burst into laughter. Wasn't Zhen Yingjin such a fool? You can hide it, but others can't? Isn't that okay now? He's finally getting the results of his arrogance, right? A big bump on his head, he really deserved it. Zhu Ruoguang felt a chill run through his body. He saw it as a display of power from Master Lin. How else could such a bizarre and unnatural phenomenon occur? Hitting 3 jump balls in a row, it was a rare occurrence in professional competitions. Chapter 842 Jun Xiao regrets. Oh, I hit it. I won, right? Okay, count that as a goal. Chen Yashu hadn't expected to actually hit the jump ball. She'd only been trying it out, believing its success would depend on Wrigley's skill. But it seemed he was quite capable. With that, Chen Yashu picked up a billiard ball of her own suit and dropped it into the bag. Zhen Yingjin took a deep breath, somewhat unwilling to accept the outcome, but there was nothing he could do. He'd already boasted, and now not only was he unlucky, he couldn't explain himself, but Chen Yashu also had to count the ball as a winner. Okay, now it's my turn. Zhen Yingjin took a deep breath. He couldn't make any mistakes this time, or he'd lose the round. Chen Yashu was left with only 2 balls of her own suit. Normally, Zhen Yingjin wouldn't have taken it seriously. They were just 2 beginners, and he could have won anyway. But things were different now. Something was strange about the game at this point. He had hit jump balls twice before, and logically, he hadn't used much force. Could it be that the cue ball was too light? Zhen Yingjin couldn't figure it out, but since he couldn't figure it out, he decided to use less force this time. Zhen Yingjin aimed at a ball of his own suit and hit the cue ball. Lin Yi also felt that Zhen Yingjin was using less force, so Lin Yi also reduced the energy he sent to him. This time, Zhen Yingjin's cue ball didn't fly off the billiard table, but it still jumped over the target ball and flew directly into the pocket. Gah! Zhen Yingjin was really speechless. This time, he deliberately reduced the force, but he didn't expect to hide a jump ball again. Only this time, he didn't hurt anyone, but instead knocked his cue ball into the pocket. Fortunately, at least he didn't have to pay money or be scolded by others. However, Zhen Yingjin's face was still not very good. He had made a fool of himself again. Wow, you're so handsome, you actually hit your own ball into the hole? Are you colorblind? Chen Yashu looked at Zhen Yingjin in surprise and asked. Humph. I just didn't control the strength well, I won't do it next time. Zhen Yingjin snorted coldly, not wanting to argue with Chen Yashu. The more he argued at this time, the more guilty he would seem, so Zhen Yingjin wanted to prove his strength to Chen Yashu later. There are no penalty rules for playing with Chen Yashu. Whether you hit the cue ball flying or hitting it into the pocket, there will be no penalty, so it was Chen Yashu's turn to play. Chen Yashu also discovered that Wrigley Brothers should not be able to change the route of the billiard balls, but can only change the strength of the billiard balls. Therefore, Chen Yashu was not sure whether to aim directly at the pockets with the 2 billiard balls on her side of the table, so she simply hit the cue ball a certain distance away, so that the position of the cue ball could be easily aimed at the remaining 2 billiard balls. Seeing that Chen Yashu wasn't aiming for the ball of her own suit, but instead had it elsewhere, Lin Yi, guessing what Chen Yashu was thinking, maneuvered the cue ball into a position that was ideal for Chu Mengyao's aim. From this point on, Chu Mengyao could easily pocket the billiard ball of her own suit just in front of the cue ball if she aimed. Chu Mengyao had already guessed that Lin Yi was helping her, and it seemed Xiao Shu knew this too, Otherwise, she wouldn't have hit the cue ball that way. Without Lin Yi's help, Chen Yushu wouldn't have been able to control her force so precisely, landing the cue ball exactly where she needed it. Even without Lin Yi's help, Chu Mengyao could easily pocket the ball of her own suit with this shot. After Chu Mengyao finished, it was Zhen Yingjin's turn. Zhen Yingjin felt a little nervous. The opponent only had one ball left, but he still had several. This time, Zhen Yingjin didn't dare use quite as much force. He aimed at his own ball and used a much smaller force, even less than before, to gently hit the cue ball. However, this time, it was still a jump ball. Zhen Yingjin was frantic. How could this be possible? How could every shot he hit be a jump ball? The cue ball whoosh and then bang slammed down onto the billiard ball Zhen Yingjin was aiming at, sending it spinning around a few times before coming to rest. This time, Zhen Yingjin had indeed hit his intended target, but because he'd hit it in the wrong direction, the target ball didn't even land in the pocket. Fuck you. This is weird, Zhen Yingjin cursed, finding it a bit unbelievable. Had his strength suddenly increased dramatically? He clearly didn't have much strength, yet the balls he hit seemed like they were hit with immense force. What on earth was going on? There was only one ball left for Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu. Chen Yushu still used the same old strategy, hitting the cue ball to a position that was convenient for Chu Mengyao to aim, and then let Chu Mengyao hit it. This time, Chu Mengyao was a little nervous, so she used less strength, but with Lin Yi's energy replenishment, the last ball fell into the pocket smoothly. Chu Mengyao herself clearly felt that she didn't use enough strength, but the ball she hit seemed to have a lot of staying power and ran into the hole by itself. Chu Mengyao felt that this might be Lin Yi's trick again. Oh, we won? Look. You said you were a professional player and you wanted to teach us how to play. Don't you think you can't do it? Chen Yushu looked at Zhen Yingjin with some pride. Do you think you are so great just by hitting a few jump balls? Not only can I hit jump balls, I can also hit bouncy balls. Isn't there still one round? You and I win once each, and now we are just tied. How could Zhen Yingjin admit defeat? He felt that the second game was entirely his own fault, not Chen Yushu's strength. Alright, let's play another game, and make sure you lose. With Lin Yi's help, Chen Yushu wasn't afraid of losing at all. Shall we still have 3 balls? No, I underestimated your ability before, but I can't give you one now. How could Zhen Yingjin dare give them another one? Although Chen Yushu looked like a beginner, she had amazing luck. He was afraid she'd score a few more goals by accident, so he said, not only can you not give them another one, but you two can only play one at a time, not both. Zhen Yingjin saw that Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu couldn't play together anymore. The two of them worked so well together, one hitting the cue ball into position while the other scored. If they kept playing this way, he was afraid he'd still lose. So, to save face, he couldn't let them play like this anymore. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 843, Microcosm Explosion. Are you trying to cheat? Chen Yushu asked, looking at Zhen Yingjin. It's not cheating. I was just being humble before, but this third game is the deciding one, so I can't be humble anymore, Zhen Yingjin defended himself. Boo, the onlookers burst into laughter. Isn't that cheating? He'd thought the other person was a beginner and easy to bully, so he boasted. Now that he sees how good he is, he doesn't want to be humble anymore. This is clearly cheating. How can it not be? Zhen Yingjin blushed a little at the laughter, but for the sake of his reputation, he didn't care about being laughed at. Otherwise, he, the vice president of the Donghae City Billiards Association, would be defeated by 2 unknown beginners. It would be humiliating. If word got out, he would be laughed to death by everyone he knew. So, today's embarrassment was just a small one, but it was better than a large one. Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu were also a little angry. This person had clearly seen through their strategy, and now it would be impossible for one person to move the cue ball and play the game alone. Oh, since you're changing the rules, I'll change them too. Otherwise, we're unbalanced. Chen Yushu's eyes darted, and a brilliant idea struck her. What rules are you changing? Zhen Yingjin asked. This time, we won't have to distinguish between suits. Whoever pockets more balls wins. How is that? Chen Yushu said. Okay, are you sure you agree with what I said before? Zhen Yingjin was slightly taken aback, thinking that Chen Yashu's change wouldn't be of much use. Even if he stopped allowing Chen Yashu to move the cue ball, and Chu Mengyao continued playing the way she did, then not having to distinguish between suits would only make it easier for them to find their target during play. It wouldn't matter, right? However, Zhen Yingjin simply considered Chen Yashu's proposal a second-best option. No suits, no need to move the cue ball to find their own suit, just play directly. But did she really think that a direct hit would still net the ball? Agreed. Then who's going to tee off first? Chen Yashu nodded in agreement. Let me go first. I've already let you guys go 2 rounds, so it's time for me to start. Zhen Yingjin stood up and prepared to start without hesitation. The crowd onlookers were even more disdainful of Zhen Yingjin. He had arrogantly given him the ball because he thought he was a beginner and easy to bully. Now that he felt he was better, he wouldn't give him the ball. How shameless. Zhen Yingjin had used too much force twice before, so this time he decided to use less force. As long as he didn't hide a jump ball, it would be fine. Now that the suits were not important, it was even more advantageous for him because he could directly pocket a billiard ball with a start. Zhen Yingjin reduced his force even further and hit the ball. He thought, with this force, it should be normal, right? The result was as Zhen Yingjin expected. The cue ball didn't fly out again, and this time it wasn't a jump ball. Instead, it moved forward a very small distance and stopped. Huh? Zhen Yingjin was stunned. What happened? Why did the cue ball stop moving? Did he use too little force this time? Impossible, it was just a little less than before. How could there be such a big difference? He had hid a jump ball before, and this time the cue ball moved forward a few centimeters? Zhen Yingjin rubbed his eyes, trying to see if he was dazzled. However, he was not dazzled, because this time Lin Yi did not help him, did not give him energy, so he just hit the cue ball with his original force. With the force he used, he could only hit the cue ball this far. Ha 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 ha! Chen Yashu burst into laughter. She pointed at the cue ball hit by Zhen Yingjin, laughing so hard that her stomach hurt. I told you to hit it first. Why is it the same as if you didn't hit it? I just missed it. Zhen Yingjin's face flushed, but he didn't know what went wrong. Missed it? Chen Yashu clearly didn't believe Zhen Yingjin's explanation, but she didn't say anything. Standing by the pool table, she said to Zhen Yingjin, "Alright, I'm going to call it a day." Call it a day? Zhen Yingjin was stunned. How could that be possible? He quickly said, "Isn't there a rule against consecutive strokes? I didn't say I had to hit consecutive strokes. If I hide another bouncy ball, wouldn't that be a day?" Chen Yashu looked at Zhen Yingjin as if he were an idiot. Zhen Yingjin was stunned. He finally understood what Chen Yashu had meant by not distinguishing suits. This girl had wanted to hide another bouncy ball. Because the previous bouncy ball was so unbelievable, Zhen Yingjin had never imagined that Chen Yashu could hit such a ball. When Chen Yashu mentioned changing the rules, he hadn't thought about it that way. Now he understood what Chen Yashu was thinking. But could she really hit another bouncy ball? Zhen Yingjin was a little skeptical. After all, the bouncy ball was beyond the realm of billiards. While Chen Yashu might have been able to hide a jump ball, even a world-class professional billiards player wouldn't necessarily be able to pull it off. "You can hit a bouncy ball?" Zhen Yingjin asked, somewhat incredulously. "I don't know, but it should be possible." Chen Yashu blinked, then raised her hands and shouted, "Brother Wrigley, please grant me strength." Chu Mengyao nearly burst out laughing upon hearing this, and Lin Yi was speechless. Fortunately, no one around knew what Chen Yashu was saying, thinking she was mumbling some encouraging words. It's common knowledge that some athletes shout out incomprehensible phrases before a shot, just like weightlifters shouting motivational words the moment they lift a barbell. After Chen Yashu's shout, she launched a shot. The cue ball, however, hit a rather unremarkable spot, casually hiding a colored billiard ball before coming to rest. Just when everyone thought Chen Yashu couldn't hide another bouncy ball, and Zhen Yingjin was relieved, the billiard ball struck by the cue ball suddenly erupted like a small universe, suddenly filled with power, and quickly crashed onto the pool table. Bouncy ball, born again. The billiard ball seemed tireless, constantly bouncing back and forth on the table. Of course, if only one ball was a bouncy ball, that wouldn't be a big deal, because such an incredible thing had already happened once before. The key point was that the current situation was even more shocking and inexplicable. Chapter 844, Only Admit Defeat. The situation on the pool table was that not only was the ball hit by Chen Yushu, a bouncing ball, but all the balls it touched became bouncing balls, bouncing back and forth on the table until they landed in the pocket. Lin Yi was worried about what would happen if he accidentally landed in the pocket with only one bouncing ball. So he continuously injected energy into the pool table, allowing all the moving balls to gain energy and continue moving until they were forced to stop after landing in the pocket. For a moment, all the billiard balls on the table went into a frenzy, like a pinball game on a video game console, shocking everyone present. Impossible, absolutely impossible. This defies common sense, defies the law of conservation of energy. Zhen Yingjin, though usually arrogant, was no fool. On the contrary, he knew a great deal and wasn't some idiot. The situation before him was truly unbelievable, and he finally couldn't help but roar, "Look, everyone, is this possible? Do you think this makes sense?" But after Zhen Yingjin finished speaking, the audience looked at him like he was idiot. "What do you mean by possible? It was happening right before your eyes, and you were still asking if it was possible? You're just lying. Impossible? Seeing is believing. Are you blind?" The thug whose front teeth had been chipped said angrily. He had received the same compensation for his chipped teeth as the man whose chest had been chipped, and he was upset, so he deliberately embarrassed Zhen Yingjin. "That's right, there are all kinds of things in the world. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it's impossible. He can actually hide a bouncy ball. Don't you agree?" Another person echoed. "Isn't it? Just because you can't hit it doesn't mean others can't. You're such a frog in the well," someone spoke up, and more people echoed him. "You guys," Zhen Yingjin was so angry that he almost fainted. "Wow. I'm so angry. What do you know? A bunch of illiterates. This kind of ball doesn't exist at all." "Don't exist." Being called illiterate, the audience immediately became unhappy. "I think you're having mental hallucinations, right? The facts are clearly happening right in front of you, and you just say it doesn't exist. It's really a shame, at such a young age, you've become a fool. What a shame." Zhen Yingjin watched as the balls on the pool table became fewer and fewer, but he had no idea what to do. Although he didn't know what was going on, he couldn't find any flaws. After all, no one was touching the balls on the table, and even if someone did, Zhen Yingjin didn't think that person could control every ball and keep them moving. "Huh?" Zhen Yingjin breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that it would be embarrassing to stay in the billiard hall any longer. He was sure to lose this round, with no chance of a comeback. He hadn't even started yet, and the balls on the table would turn into bouncy balls and pocket themselves. If he continued waiting, he would definitely lose. So Zhen Yingjin simply admitted defeat. "I lose. It's just 20,000 yuan. I'll give it to you." Zhen Yingjin was also relieved. If he refused to pay it this time, it would damage his reputation. What if these people spread that the vice president of the Donghae City Billiards Association refused to pay after losing a game? Then he wouldn't have to face anyone. Zhen Yingjin opened his wallet, took a look, and found that the money was not enough. So he said to Zhu Ruoguang, who was not far behind him, "Brother Zhu, lend me 20,000 yuan first, and I will get it back to you later." Zhu Ruoguang did not dare to disobey, and hurried to the bar to get 20,000 yuan and handed it to Zhen Yingjin. "Young Master Zhen, this is for you." Zhen Yingjin took the money and handed it directly to Chen Yusu. "I give you the money, I lose, but don't let me find out that you are cheating. Otherwise," although Zhen Yingjin did not say the threatening words directly, he was already very annoyed. He was not going to let Chu Mengyao and Chen Yusu go easily, but he couldn't say it in public, so he could only do it secretly. After paying, Zhen Yingjin was too embarrassed to stay in the billiard hall any longer. Seeing the mocking looks on everyone's faces, Zhen Yingjin felt furious. He quickly walked to the beverage counter, casually took out a bottle of drink from the refrigerator, opened it, and gulped it all down. This calmed him down a little. After finishing the drink, he didn't pay, turned around, and left the entertainment center directly through the side door of the billiard hall. He felt aggrieved and wanted to go out for some fresh air. If he stayed any longer, he would feel uncomfortable all over. Because he felt embarrassed for losing the game, he didn't ask Zhu Ruoguang to accompany him, but left the billiard hall alone. Chen Yushu didn't really care about the 20,000 yuan. If she cared about the money, she wouldn't have ignored the game coins that the slot machines in the arcade had spit out before. She just cared about the excitement of winning the game. "I didn't expect my genius Shu to be so good at everything." Chen Yushu stuffed 20,000 yuan directly into Lin Yi's pocket and said, "I'm not going to play anymore. It's boring." Nothing can stop me. I'm hungry. Let's go home and eat. Lin Yi took the money and followed Chen Yushu and the eldest lady to the side door of the billiard hall. If you go through the side door, you can directly exit the entertainment center without having to go through the game hall again. What genius, Shu! Isn't it Lin Yi who helped you? Although Chu Mengyao didn't know how Lin Yi did it, she knew that this matter must have been done by Lin Yi. It was almost certain. Oh, I know. Brother Arrow is by my side. After he gave me power, I am a genius, Shu, Chen Yushu said nonchalantly. Chu Mengyao was a little speechless, thinking to herself, why do I feel that Xiao Shu is even more arrogant than Zhen Yingjin? Is this also considered a genius, Shu? When Zhen Yingjin came out of the billiard hall, he met an old lady who was picking up rubbish. The old lady was a disabled person with the sequelae of a stroke. Not only was her mouth crooked, but one of her feet was also not very flexible. At this moment, she was struggling to pick up mineral water bottles and beverage cans with a woven silk bag. Young man, can you give me this beverage bottle? The old lady saw Zhen Yingjin coming out of the billiard hall with an empty beverage bottle in his hand, so she stepped forward and asked. Normally, everyone would give her the empty bottle in their hands. After all, it is very troublesome to find a trash can, so it is better to do a good deed. But Zhen Yingjin was furious at the moment. A hemiplegic old lady suddenly came over and scared him. She also wanted to snatch the beverage bottle from his hand. Zhen Yingjin immediately flew into a rage and kicked the woven silk bag in the old lady's hand. Chapter 845, Prophecy. Shu reappears. How could the old lady be a match for Zhen Yingjin? Her age was already weak, and coupled with her hemiplegia, her grip loosened, sending the woven bag flying, sending the bottles and cans inside clattering to the floor. Ah! The old lady screamed, looking at Zhen Yingjin in horror, but she didn't dare to object. She thought she'd encountered a hooligan. After all, she'd encountered such unreasonable people before. The old lady could only swallow her anger, giving Zhen Yingjin a resentful look. She lowered her head, stumbling to pick up the fallen mineral water and soft drink bottles. Damn, what bad luck! Zhen Yingjin casually tossed his soft drink bottle in front of the old lady and said angrily, here you go, rag picker. Chu Mengyao, Chen Yushu, and Lin Yi had just left the pool hall when they saw the scene from afar. The eldest lady frowned, feeling that Zhen Yingjin was truly abominable. How could he treat such a vulnerable elderly person like this? However, before the young lady could say anything, Chen Yushu was the first to object. Hey, how can you be so wicked? Do you have any sense of public morality? How can you treat this old lady like this? Don't you see that she has bad legs and feet and is disabled? It's none of your business. Zhen Yingjin was even more angry. He thought to himself that this girl was meddling in so many things. What does it have to do with her if she kicked the old lady? Will you never be old and frail one day? Can you promise that you won't be disabled in the future? If you were disabled, would you feel good if others treated you like this? Chen Yushu snorted. Only then did Lin Yi realize that Chen Yushu also had such a kind-hearted side. She and the young lady were actually good people. Huh? My family has plenty of money, why would I come out to pick up rags? Besides, I'm so healthy, how could I become disabled? It doesn't make sense, Zhen Yingjin said disdainfully. So many things don't make sense. Have you ever seen a bouncy ball before today? Nothing is impossible for me, the super beautiful Shu? Chen Yushu blinked and said, maybe you'll become like that old lady soon, and her illness will be transferred to you. Right, Brother Arrow, psycho. How could Zhen Yingjin believe Chen Yushu's nonsense? He snorted in dissatisfaction and turned to leave. Wait, why is your back dirty? Lin Yi walked over and casually patted Zhen Yingjin. In the sunlight, a dazzling glint flashed on Lin Yi's hand, which disappeared in an instant. It was the effect of the silver needle reflecting in the sun. What do you mean? Zhen Yingjin was stunned. What are you doing? Nothing, I was mistaken. It's the old lady who's dirty. Lin Yi ignored him and turned to walk over to the old man collecting scavengers. He pricked the old man's body with a silver needle a few times, seemingly casually, and then withdrew it. This happened in just a split second, and Zhen Yingjin didn't take it seriously at all. However, Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu were slightly stunned, because they saw the silver needle in Lin Yi's hand. Chen Yushu said this before because she thought of Lin Yi being a doctor and wanted to see if Lin Yi had any way to punish Zhen Yingjin. She thought that since Lin Yi could even cure the serious injury of the mighty general, he must have a way to deal with Zhen Yingjin. Psycho, Zhen Yingjin just complained, and suddenly found that his mouth was crooked. What was going on? Zhen Yingjin reached out to touch his mouth in fear, but he was shocked to find that for some reason, the corner of his mouth had turned to one side, and it was out of his control because he had no feeling at all. It was as if this mouth was not his own. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Zhen Yingjin shouted incoherently, and because of the crooked corner of his mouth, his pronunciation was also a little unclear. The old lady over there suddenly found that her leg seemed to have suddenly healed and was no longer lame. She was suddenly a little surprised. My leg, how come my leg suddenly got better? However, as soon as she opened her mouth to speak, she was even more shocked to find that her mouth didn't seem to be crooked anymore, and her speech became fluent and normal. What happened? Zhen Yingjin was also stunned by the changes in the old lady. He wanted to take a few steps to see what was going on, but as soon as he moved his legs, he suddenly found that one of his legs was out of control. He limped and almost fell to the ground. My leg, how come my leg suddenly didn't work? What's going on? Zhen Yingjin screamed in horror. Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu were also stunned. They didn't expect that Lin Yi had completed the treatment of the old lady in such a short time, and then did the same thing to Zhen Yingjin with the old lady's illness. Chen Yashu was really surprised. She had just talked about it casually before, but she didn't expect Lin Yi to be so magical and really do it. Chen Yashu was instantly overjoyed. Errol brother was so kind to her. If this continued, she'd become Fairy Shu, free to do whatever she pleased. Ha! Look how accurate my words were. I was the one who predicted Shu. You see, I told you were disabled, so you could understand the old lady's feelings, but you didn't believe me. Now it's alright, right? The old lady's illness has metastasized. Ha ha ha! Chen Yashu pointed at Zhen Yingjin and laughed excitedly. Which angel brother has appeared? That's wonderful. Zhen Yingjin was initially horrified, but after hearing Chen Yashu's words and looking at the old lady, he saw that she was now no different from a normal person, while his symptoms were exactly the same as before. What was going on? Was he truly being punished by the gods? Thinking back to the incredible events that had occurred today while playing billiards, Zhen Yingjin glanced at Chen Yashu in horror. Was this person even human? Could she be some deity sent down to earth, deliberately punishing him? Otherwise, why did everything related to her become unreasonable and could not be explained by common sense? The disease has metastasized, which is totally inconsistent with modern science. If it is an infectious disease, then it is possible, but how can a disability like that of an old lady be contagious? Thinking of this, Zhen Yingjin was left with only horror in his heart. What on earth did you do to me? Zhen Yingjin looked at Chen Yashu with some horror. He was a rather superstitious person. Once this fearful thought formed in his mind, he found it more and more incredible. I didn't do anything, Chen Yashu shrugged, I just made a prediction. Do you want me to make another prediction for you? Chapter 846, Treating and Preventing Diseases. No, Zhen Yingjin was really scared of Chen Yashu at this moment. If someone pointed a gun at him, Zhen Yingjin might not be afraid, but this unprecedented unknown scared him to death. How could he dare to let Chen Yashu predict it? If Chen Yashu said that he would be hit by a car and die in a moment, would he still be alive? Zhen Yingjin felt that it was not appropriate to stay here for long, and he did not think about taking revenge on Chen Yashu, because he felt that this was no longer something he could resist with his own strength. What is this? This is simply a divine manifestation. Otherwise, how to explain the bouncy ball before? Now that I think about it, those jump balls I hit might not be arranged by heaven. Otherwise, how could I hit them? And thinking back to the various strange things on the billiard table before, the ball that was obviously weak but seemed to have taken stimulants, how to explain this? I didn't think much of it before, but now I think about it, the more I think about it, the more terrifying it is. I have been fighting against the gods all the time, so how can I be sure of winning? Now, look at the old lady, a disabled person, now free of any problems, while he himself has become disabled. He couldn't imagine what would happen next, so frightened that he limped and turned to run. This place was too scary. When he got home, he would quickly ask some great immortals to perform a ritual to dispel the bad luck from him. He didn't think he was really lame or his mouth was crooked. He felt that he must be possessed by some unknown entity, and he wanted to ask the immortals to perform a ritual. I know. Little girl, you must be a fairy sent by the heavens. Only fairies have such great magical powers. The old lady was no fool. Seeing that her old illness had been transferred to an evil person in the blink of an eye, how could she not know that it was Chen Yushu's doing? And how could such a trick be done by an ordinary person? It must be the work of a god. So the old lady subconsciously mistook Chen Yushu for a fairy and bowed to her in gratitude. Chen Yushu was shocked. How could she let this old lady treat her so kindly? He quickly supported her and said, "Grandma, please don't be like this. This is not my credit." No matter how thick-skinned Chen Yushu was, she was embarrassed to pretend to be a fairy in front of the old lady. However, how could the old lady believe it? She only believed what she saw. If it weren't for Chen Yushu, how could the gangster be punished, and how could her old illness be cured? Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu had no choice but to leave quickly, otherwise the old lady might have to kowtow to them, and they couldn't bear it. After walking to the side of the car and getting in, Chu Mengyao asked Lin Yi with some curiosity, "Lin Yi, how did you do it?" Yes, Brother Arrow, how can the old lady's disease be transferred?" Chen Yushu asked, very puzzled. "How?" Lin Yi shrugged and started the car. "The old lady's illness is just the after effects of a stroke. To put it bluntly, it's just blocked meridians. Acupuncture can cure it, but her family is poor and she's never been to the hospital." Lin Yi was right. The old lady's illness wasn't really an illness at all, just the after effects of blocked meridians. Therefore, acupuncture alone could cure it. However, to cure it instantly, it would require Lin Yi's energy transmission. Lin Yi didn't tell Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu about this, as they wouldn't understand. What about Zhen Yingjin? How did he suddenly develop the same illness as the old lady? The young lady knew Lin Yi was a skilled doctor. He had cured her poison and General Weiwu's injuries. But as the saying goes, curing a disease is easy, but preventing it is hard. How had Lin Yi created Zhen Yingjin's illness? Oh, the same principle. I used acupuncture to seal off several of his acupuncture points, Lin Yi explained simply. In reality, it was also using energy to seal off these acupuncture points, which had caused the current condition. I see, Chen Yushu suddenly realized, there are so many reasons for this, Brother Arrow. What about the billiards before, used true key? Lin Yi was not able to explain this question, so he could only put the blame on true key. Oh, Chen Yushu knew about true key, but did not quite understand it. After hearing what Lin Yi said, she did not continue to ask. Zhen Yingjin did not dare to stay, and went to find his father Zhen Dazhao in a panic. When Zhen Dazhao saw the appearance of his son Zhen Yingjin, he was shocked. He was fine when he got up in the morning and went out. How come he became such a miserable state when he returned home? What happened? Dad, what happened today is really weird. I have never encountered such a weird thing. Zhen Yingjin did not hide it and told his father everything that happened today. Dad, how is this possible? It is completely against common sense. Did we encounter some unclean things? Well, this is really possible. Zhen Dazhao is in a business that is on the edge of a knife and is quite superstitious. After hearing what Zhen Yingjin said, he also felt that things were a bit unbelievable. Things like bouncy balls are completely unreasonable. You mean, those two women might not be human? They are fairies? It's possible. Zhen Yingjin nodded quickly. Those two girls look so sexy. How could ordinary people look like that? I've picked up countless girls, but I've never seen such a top-notch one. Now that I think about it, there's really a problem. Zhen Dazhao took a deep breath, turned his head and looked at Zhu Xiandi, who had been silent, and asked, Brother Xiandi, what do you think about this matter? Zhu Xiandi didn't know the truth. He didn't know which great god Zhen Yingjin had offended. He was worried about whether his son Zuruoguang would suffer as a result, so he was a little absent-minded. I think Brother Dazhao's guess is possible. Maybe he encountered something unclean. Brother Xiandi, do you know any great immortals? Let him perform a ritual for Yingjin. Zhen Dazhao didn't dare to neglect it. It was better to resolve this matter as soon as possible. But he didn't even think about going to the hospital, because according to Zhen Yingjin's description, this was completely a manifestation of evil spirits. How could he be sick? Besides, there's no such thing as a sudden onset of facial paralysis and lameness. Who's ever heard of such an acute illness? I don't know who this is, but I can find it if I ask around. As long as I can afford it, why worry about not being able to consult a shady deity? Zhu Xiandi was a little worried. This Zhen family kid was such a troublemaker. He'd already caused such a disaster on his first day in Songshan City. He had to call Ruoguang and tell him to stay away from Zhen Yingjin to avoid getting him implicated. Chapter 847 How to Cure the Disease? Okay, money is no problem. We must invite a deity over as soon as possible, Zhen Dazhao said. People like him who are involved in the underworld are afraid of very few things. If they were afraid, they would not do these illegal things. But the more bad things they do, the more afraid they are of ghosts and gods coming to punish them. Therefore, Zhen Dazhao's family worships many ghosts, foxes, fairies and monsters, but what he didn't expect was that the more he feared something, the more it would come. As soon as he arrived in Songshan city, something bad happened. Seeing his son's crooked mouth and eyes and lame leg, Zhen Dazhao felt so distressed. Son, please ask the deity to bless you and let you return to normal as soon as possible. Okay. Zhen Yingjin was so scared that he quickly prayed in his heart. Zhu Xiandi turned and left the room of the Zhen family father and son. He didn't contact the deity first, but called his son Zhu Ruoguang. Seeing Zhen Yingjin walked away in anger, Zhu Xiandi didn't dare to chase him. He let him relax. Zhu Ruoguang wasn't stupid either. He was thinking, this Zhen Yingjin had offended Lin Yi. Should he stay away from him in the future? This guy is unacceptable. If he gets involved with me again, I'm doomed. Dad, what's going on? Zhu Ruoguang answered his father's call. Ruoguang, do you know about Zhen Yingjin's situation? Zhu Xiandi asked. He was possessed. Possessed? What do you mean? Zhu Ruoguang was stunned. He wanted to tell his father that Zhen Yingjin had offended Lin Yi, and asked his father to stay away from Zhen Yingjin and not to implicate the Zhu family. However, when he heard that Zhen Yingjin was possessed, he was stunned and didn't know what was going on. Why was he possessed? He was fine before. Oh? You don't know? Well, he was possessed after playing billiards and then went out, so Zhu Xiandi told his son how Zhen Yingjin was possessed, and then said, Ruoguang, are you okay? If you are okay, stay away from Zhen Yingjin, so as not to implicate you. Dad, this is exactly what I want to tell you. When Zhu Ruoguang heard about the process of Zhen Yingjin being possessed, he was even more certain in his heart that the Zhen family father and son should stop interfering with him. They offended Lin Yi, and they are dead. He quickly said, Dad, how can he be possessed by an evil spirit? Do you know who he offended? Do you know who he played billiards with? Oh? Not possessed by an evil spirit? Who did he offend? Zhu Xiandi was stunned, feeling that his son seemed to know the truth. He offended Master Lin, Zhu Ruoguang said with some horror. The person playing billiards with him is Master Lin's friend. He made Master Lin unhappy, so naturally he became like this. Dad, didn't you say that Master Lin is omnipotent and almighty? Gah. Zhu Xiandi was shocked when he heard the name of Master Lin. He thought to himself, I was wondering why Zhen Yingjin became like this. It turned out that he offended Lin Yi. That's normal. After offending Lin Yi, no immortal will be of any use. Ruoguang, these Zhens are a disaster. It looks like this deal with them is a complete failure. I don't dare play with them anymore. Let them figure out the gambling boat business on their own. Send them away quickly and don't implicate our Zhu family, Zhu Xiandi said decisively. Yeah, I thought so too. Zhen Yingjin is so reckless. He's even trying to get his hands on those two girls around Lin Yi. I tried to convince him that Lin Yi is powerful, but he wouldn't listen. What happened? He got into trouble, right? Zhu Ruoguang sighed. Okay, I get it. Did Master Lin take his anger out on you? That was what Zhu Xiandi feared most. As for the fate of these hens, it had nothing to do with him. No, some red-haired guy provoked Master Lin a while ago, and I even helped him teach him a lesson. I can see Master Lin was quite satisfied, Zhu Ruoguang said cautiously. That's good, Zhu Xiandi nodded. Alright, I'll contact a shaman for Zhen Yingjin. I've done my best to send them away. Although Zhu Xiandi had been stepped on by Lin Yi several times, he had a wide network of contacts in Songshan city. Before long, he contacted a famous shaman. This shaman was called Aku, and he was quite famous in the area. Everyone who had a wedding or funeral would ask him to perform a ritual. However, no one could say for sure whether he had any skills. Some said he could catch evil spirits with his bare hands, while others said he could communicate with the dead. But whether this was actually true was something only the evil spirits caught and the dead he spoke to knew. After Aku arrived, he started jumping up and down to perform a ritual for Zhen Yingjin. He recited the spell 100 times, got a yellow paper talisman and put it on the tip of the peach wood sword. He mumbled something in his mouth, and suddenly shouted, lit the yellow paper talisman, and then extinguished it in the water. He brought it in front of Zhen Yingjin and said to Zhen Dazhao, Zhen Shao is possessed by a thing called a vengeful spirit, which caused all these incredible symptoms. Now I have captured the vengeful spirit with my magic, but the evil spirit remaining in Zhen Shao's body cannot be dispelled overnight, so he must take holy water for 3 days before he can recover. Master, you have worked hard. Zhen Dazhao saw that Master Aku was as powerful as Monkey King, and he must have extraordinary magical powers, so he believed his words. This is the incense money agreed upon, please don't refuse it. No problem. Aku took a look at the thickness of the red envelope, which was as much as 50,000 yuan, and put it away with a smile. Zhen Yingjin drank tap water mixed with paper ash. Whether it dispelled the evil spirits or not was unknown, but he did suffer from diarrhea. Ever since consuming the holy water, he'd been experiencing loose bowels, which had persisted all night with no improvement. However, Master Aku had previously explained that this was a detoxification phase, expelling the toxins from his body, so Zhen Yingjin simply assumed it was his magic taking effect and happily settled into the toilet. The Zhu father and son, however, stood by, observing with a cold, distant air. They simply didn't believe a sorcerer could cure the illness inflicted on Zhen Yingjin by the great god Lin. But they kept quiet, believing it was best left to their own devices. Why bother telling them? What did the lives of Zhen Dazhao and Zhen Yingjin have to do with them? What if the great god Lin found out and blamed them? Dad, can this cure Zhen Yingjin? Is that true? Is he really detoxifying? Zhu Ruoguang said sympathetically, watching Zhen Yingjin vomit and have diarrhea, finally settling into the toilet. Chapter 848, Bing Xiao's new idea. If you drink paper ash mixed with cold water, you will have diarrhea. Zhu Xiandi is not stupid. Is that something people drink? Wouldn't you die after drinking it? That's true, Zhu Ruoguang nodded. I think that Aku is obviously a big liar. Only idiots like Zhen Yingjin and his son gave 50,000 yuan? They are so stupid. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Not only did Zhen Yingjin show no signs of improvement, but he also had diarrhea and looked like he was about to faint at any time. Zhen Dazhao saw that his son was not getting better at all. Instead, he was in a worse state. So he hurriedly called Master Aku and wanted him to come and take a look. However, the sound of the phone being turned off came from Master Aku's phone. It was not until then that Zhen Dazhao realized that he had been cheated by that Master Aku. But who can be blamed for this? Although Master Aku was summoned by Zhu Xiandi, he had previously stated that he didn't know any immortals and could only help find one. Even after the immortal was summoned, it was only with Zhen Dazhao's permission that Zhen Yingjin was treated, and the incense money was also voluntarily given by Zhen Dazhao. It was really no wonder Zhu Xiandi was so angry. Zhen Dazhao was furious. Zhen Yingjin was his only son, and he doted on him. He had come to Songshan City to expand the family business and bring his son along to broaden his horizons, but he hadn't expected such a disaster to happen. Zhen Dazhao looked much more haggard overnight, and his hair became even more gray. Looking at Zhen Dazhao sighing, and then at Zhen Yingjin, who was in agony on the bed, Zhu Xiandi said with some sympathy, I don't think this is a case of evil spirits. Should we go to the hospital? Zhu Xiandi thought, since Lin Yi had transferred the injuries of the old woman who had suffered a stroke to Zhen Yingjin must be ill too. What did being possessed have to do with evil spirits? This sentence reminded Zhen Dazhao. Zhen Dazhao rushed to the hospital with his son. After the doctor's examination, he came to the conclusion. Zhen Yingjin's current symptoms are similar to the sequelae of stroke, epilepsy, cerebral hemorrhage and other diseases. There is no immediate treatment for the time being. It is recommended to go to Chinese medicine for massage and acupuncture. After listening to the doctor's words, the Zhen family father and son finally understood this time. This is not a ghost, but the sequelae of the hemiplegic old lady were really transferred to Zhen Yingjin. Although I don't know how it was transferred, the disease has indeed come to Zhen Yingjin. Zhen Yingjin is so sad. Why? Isn't it because he kicked the woven bag of the hemiplegic old lady? It can't be so cruel that the disease on her body was directly transferred to himself? The father and son were very depressed. They were fooled by the shaman, but found that the facts were not the case at all. What's more, this disease is not easy to cure. The traditional Chinese medicine hospital's explanation was simple, no one could guarantee a complete cure. This kind of after effect could only be treated and tried. Perhaps it would ease, or even a miracle would happen. After examination, it was discovered that Zhen Yingjin's meridians were not simply blocked. Unlike the old woman's, The old woman's condition was a genuine after-effect, while Zhen Yingzhen's was a condition created by Lin Yi's energy. And the blocked meridians were also different from ordinary after-effects. In other words, from the outside, Zhen Yingzhen appeared to be healthy, yet his meridians were blocked by an inexplicable force. This puzzled the doctors at the traditional Chinese medicine hospital. When asked about Zhen Yingzhen's medical history, Zhen Yingzhen was too embarrassed to claim it was divine punishment and could only offer vague answers. However, the more this went on, the more the doctors struggled to find a suitable solution, and they could only ask him to try treatment first. Try treatment? How could Zhen Dazhao possibly let a doctor try? He only had this one son, and now he was in this state. If he couldn't be cured, what good would his vast family fortune be without an heir? Zhen Dazhao, desperate, asked Zhu Xiandi to inquire among Songshan's upper-class society about any miracle doctors who could cure Zhen Yingzhen. Zhen Dazhao offered 1,000,000 yuan as a reward. Zhen Dazhao was truly desperate, or he wouldn't have offered so much. He took Zhen Yingzhen to numerous specialist clinics, but none of them had any good treatment options for his condition. Both large hospitals and private clinics offered treatment, but no one promised a cure. Zhen Dazhao's collaboration with Zhu Xiandi was temporarily shelved, which Zhu Xiandi was actually happy to see. He didn't dare get involved with the Zhen father and son anymore. These two unlucky guys had provoked Lin Yi and caused such a big mess, and they still expected him to cooperate? Dream on. But what annoyed Zhu Xiandi was that since the Zhen father and son wouldn't cooperate, they should just get out of here. Why were they still hanging around? Donghe also had its own talented doctors. Why were they staying in Songshan? In reality, Zhen Dazhao still harbored some superstitious beliefs, believing that if Zhen Yingzhen's problems arose in Songshan City, then a solution would surely be found there. It was all causal. This was why he insisted on staying in Songshan City for the time being. At the powerful floating cloud bar, Li Shihu reported recent events in Songshan City to Zhao Kaibing, who was in a wheelchair. The demolition went relatively smoothly, and the residents of the shanty town received compensation and happily moved out. However, the amount they paid was a bit excessive. After discussing the demolition, Li Shihu recounted the plight and requests for help from the Zhen family father and son from Donghe as if it were a curious anecdote. Unexpectedly, Zhao Kaibing's eyes lit up. He said he'd give me 1,000,000? Doesn't this medical profession seem quite lucrative? That's true. After all, life is more important than money, Li Shihu nodded and said, and it's said that Zhen Yingzhen's illness is quite peculiar. He got it because he offended Lin Yi. There's no such thing as a wall that can't be penetrated. Especially since Zhu Xiandi and Zhu Ruoguang, father and son, were both insiders, there was no need to keep it secret. In Songshan City's upper class, everyone basically knew it. Zhen Yingzhen's offense against Lin Yi was the retribution he suffered. Who was Lin Yi? He was the ruthless man who crippled Zhao Kaibing and tore down the Kaibing building. Those prominent young men knew the truth, but they didn't dare to bring it up because of Zhao Kaibing's power. Lin Yi? Lin Yi again. Zhao Kaibing pursed his lips and wanted to say something, but the medicine king beside him spoke first. Chapter 849, Young Soldiers Are Wise. Did he get sick because he offended Lin Yi? What does that mean? Could it be that Lin Yi created his disease? The medicine king was resentful towards Lin Yi. He always believed that if he was second to none in the secular world in terms of medical skills, no one would dare to claim to be first. Before, he thought that Lin Yi had Guanzuman's help, so he quickly recovered to normal. As for the poisoning incident at school, the medicine king even thought that Guanzuman had cracked it, so he wanted to compete with Guanzuman. But later, through the incident of Li Dali, the medicine king discovered that it was not as he imagined. Lin Yi was the medical master hidden behind the scenes. All of this was caused by Lin Yi. I'm not sure about that, but the situation at that time was very strange. Li Shihu began to recount the situation, and he felt creepy when he spoke. It is said that in just a moment, the illness of the old lady who picked up rags was transferred to Zhen Yingzhen. This sounds weird enough. I don't know if it is true or false, a rumor or what. The old lady's illness was suddenly transferred to Zhen Yingzhen. The king of medicine was a little unconvinced after hearing what Li Shihu said. You mean to say that the old lady originally had the sequelae of hemiplegia, and her crooked mouth and lame leg problems were suddenly transferred to Zhen Yingzhen? Is that right? It is said that this is the case. Li Shihu nodded. Logically speaking, this is impossible. The medicine king pondered for a moment and said, however, if you have extremely high medical skills, you can do it, but it's not a transfer. Instead, you cure the old lady's illness first, and then create the same illness on Zhen Yingjin. One is to cure the disease, and the other is to control the disease. It seems like a transfer, but this is just the understanding of an outsider. Hiss. Li Shihu took a breath. In such a short time, Lin Yi can cure one and control the disease for one. That, I can do it too. The Medicine King snorted and said somewhat conceitedly, the Medicine King, am best at not curing diseases, but harming people. This kind of trivial skill is just a piece of cake for me. I see. I thought there was something weird about this matter. After listening to the Medicine King's explanation, it turns out that the real reason is like this. Li Shihu nodded and said, forget it. In that case, let's not mention him. Young Master Bing, about the demolition of the orphanage. Wait, let's put the orphanage aside for now. I've thought of a better way to make money. Zhao Kaibing waved his hand. He had been hatching this plan since he heard Zhen Dazhao had invested 1 million to treat Zhen Yingjin's illness. Treatment is quite profitable these days. I see that genius Dr. Guan. He just treats people and they reward him handsomely with thousands of dollars. Why don't we start treating others too? Those rich people are all very wealthy, and nothing is more important than their lives. We can also make money by treating them. Young Master Bing, that's a brilliant idea. Li Shihu thought to himself upon hearing young Master Bing's words. This was indeed a way to make money, but he wasn't sure if the Medicine King would cooperate. He turned to look at the Medicine King. I was sent by the Patriarch to assist young Master Bing. Whatever young Master Bing says, the Medicine King, will do. The Medicine King didn't mind. No matter what he did, he was serving the Zhao family, so it didn't matter to him. He just thought the price was a bit low. With his skills, was 1 million just for treating an illness? So he said tactfully, young Master Bing, the price of this treatment can be appropriately increased, of course. If I make 1 million at a time, how long will it take me to make that much money? Zhao Kaibing chuckled and said insidiously, isn't the Medicine King the best at harming people? That's easy. We treat him and charge him 1 million, but we don't cure him. We transfer his illness to other places and let him continue to look for us for treatment. In this way, can't we make a lot of money? Of course, we have to do it covertly so that they can't see it. Great, really great, Li Shihu said admiringly. Young Master Bing, you are still smart. You can think of such a dirty trick in an instant. I didn't even think of it. That's right. Isn't there a divine Dr. Guan and a divine Dr. King? We have a Medicine King Zhao. Once our reputation is spread, we can get as much money as we want, Zhao Kaibing said proudly. Yi Bingxiao's statement is still feasible. The King of Medicine did not object. He was a sinister person. He was good at curing diseases and then harming people. In this way, the profit brought by one patient was not as simple as 1 million. Medical skills can save people, but they can also harm people. Medical students are proficient in the structure of the human body, especially those who practice traditional Chinese medicine. They can even use some means to create diseases. Nowadays, the vast majority of doctors study medicine to save people. Even if some people are profit-driven and work only for money, they will still save people after receiving the money. However, there are also some people who are not like this. They study medicine not to save people, but to harm people. This group of people were originally close ministers in the palace and some princes and nobles. They created some diseases just to make some princes and court officials deceive the emperor and avoid some limelight. For example, if there are two factions fighting in the court, the prince or the prime minister does not want to get involved, so they will take sick leave to avoid these things. The emperor will naturally not believe it and will send the imperial physician to check. At this time, these people will play their role, creating some diseases that are so real that they can deceive the imperial physician. However, with a change of dynasties, some of these people will be scattered among the people along with the impoverished nobles, set up their own businesses, and start walking among some wealthy landlords, specializing in treating these rich people. However, these people used to make a lot of money in the homes of princes and nobles, and these medical fees are not enough to satisfy their desires. So they start to treat a rich man, but they will never cure him. They always have a trick up their sleeves and continue to charge high medical fees until the rich man's money is completely drained. Then, according to their mood, they will cure them all or simply ignore them and let them fend for themselves. So these people can be said to be vicious. Of course, there are very few of them left in today's society. After all, after so long, many of them have lost their skills, and many have changed their careers. Only a small number of people have had to abandon their previous practices and become private doctors for some big families. Chapter 850 The Zhen family seeks medical treatment. However, he still had the means to inflict illness, so he immediately agreed with Zhao Kaibing's proposal. Spread the word soon. Our medicine king, Zhao, has started offering medical services, specializing in difficult and complicated illnesses, Zhao Kaibing said. Of course, you'll also have to reveal that Zhao Yaowang is a private physician belonging to a hidden aristocratic family. Okay, young Master Bing, I understand that, Li Shihua nodded. Zhao Kaibing's way of making money was a good one, and it wasn't dangerous. Now, can you tell me about the orphanage? What's going on? Are there any difficulties? Zhao Kaibing asked. Well, the last time we went there, the old director was a yellow rank master, wasn't he? I thought we'd have Medicine King come forward and scare them into handing over the orphanage to us, Li Shihua said. Well, there's no rush. You should first get Zhao Yaowang's medical services done. After all, the returns will be immediate, while demolishing the orphanage will take time, Zhao Kaibing said. Okay, Li Shihua nodded and went out to spread the word. The people Zhen Dazhao had asked Zhu Xiandi to inquire about were actually those miracle doctors who specialized in serving the wealthy. He felt that ordinary doctors could no longer cure Zhen Yingzhen's illness, and only those miracle doctors could do so. God rewards those who work hard. Zhen Dazhao didn't expect to hear the news so soon. The Zhao family's private doctor had actually signed up for medical treatment. As one of Donghae City's prominent figures, Zhen Dazhao naturally knew some information about the Zhao family, a hidden family entrenched in Donghae City. However, people like him still had no chance to come into contact with the Zhao family, but he also knew that the Zhao family was a very powerful existence. Upon hearing that the Zhao family's private doctor had signed up for medical treatment, he hurriedly sent Zhen Yingzhen over. In his opinion, the Zhao family's private doctor must be much better than those doctors outside. And so, Zhen Yingzhen became the Medicine King's first patient. What's going on? The Medicine King glanced at Zhen Yingzhen, whose mouth and eyes were cramped and his legs were cramping, and asked calmly, feigning ignorance. My son, Zhen Yingzhen, has been possessed by an evil spirit and has become like this. Zhen Dazhao thought there was no need to describe the course of his son's illness, it would only add to the jokes. It would be better to just talk about the condition. What's your son's name? Zhen Yingzhen? Ha, he's really handsome. Zhao Kaibing couldn't help but chuckle at Zhen Yingzhen's appearance. How could he possibly be handsome? Zhen Dazhao knew Zhao Kaibing. He knew he was a famous young man in Donghae City. He had also vaguely heard about his hidden family background. So, seeing that the Medicine King was with Zhao Kaibing, he didn't suspect anything and was completely convinced by him, so he sincerely allowed him to treat him. Seeing Zhao Kaibing laugh, he didn't dare to get angry. He just smiled bitterly and said, my son used to be quite energetic, but now he can't even go out to see people. Everyone laughs like Bing Xiao when they hear his name. Zhao Kaibing couldn't help but laugh, but then he regretted it. He was trying to scam Zhen Dazhao out of money, so how could he anger him? But upon hearing Zhen Dazhao's words, Zhao Kaibing breathed a sigh of relief. He thought, this Zhen Dazhao is quite smart and knows when to advance and retreat. So he said, Medicine King, then, will you examine him? The Medicine King nodded and glanced at Zhen Yingzhen. With just a quick inspection, he understood the cause of the illness. Lin Yi's treatment was simple. He had sealed several of Zhen Yingzhen's meridian points with his key. Even without treatment, the condition would recover on its own within 10 or 8 years. Of course, the Medicine King couldn't say these words. It can be cured, but it's very complicated, the Medicine King said to Zhen Dazhao in a pretentious tone. Medicine King, please, I beg you to cure my son's illness. As long as it can cure Yingzhen, just tell me what the conditions are, and I will do my best. Zhen Dazhao was overjoyed to hear that the Medicine King could cure him. He had seen many doctors, but none of them could help. Zhen Yingzhen's illness is not actually an illness, nor is it a case of being possessed by evil spirits. Instead, someone has done something to him, the Medicine King said calmly. This is not an ordinary sequelae of a stroke. Although they look similar, they are actually worlds apart. Zhen Dazhao nodded in agreement after hearing what the Medicine King said. So, someone had done something to him? No wonder ordinary hospitals are helpless. Someone did something to him. Zhen Yingzhen was startled. He suddenly remembered that the man named Lin Yi seemed to have slapped him a few times, and then he seemed to have fallen ill. Could it be that he was the one who did it? He couldn't help but exclaimed, "Yes! It must have been that Lin Yi who did it." "Dad, I know, Lin Yi." After hearing Lin Yi's name, the Medicine King pretended to be surprised and said, "What did you say? You were tampered with by Lin Yi?" "Yes." "What's wrong?" Zhen Yingjin was stunned. "Medicine King, do you know this man named Lin Yi?" Zhen Dazhao had never considered his son's condition to be compromised. It sounded a bit unbelievable, so when his son recounted the events, Zhen Dazhao paid no attention. But now that the Medicine King had revealed it, and that he knew the man his son suspected, he couldn't help but ask. "Of course I do," the Medicine King nodded, saying, "This Lin Yi is a master of medicine, skilled at saving lives, but also skilled at harming them. How could I not know him? Ah! Damn it! It was Lin Yi who did it. I'm going to kill him." Zhen Yingjin, upon learning the truth, flew into a rage. Zhao Kaibing, watching from the side, sneered. "You want to kill him? Who do you think you are? I've wanted Lin Yi dead for a long time, but now my leg is broken, Uncle Zhu is bedridden, the building has collapsed, the money has been paid, and Lin Yi is still alive and kicking." But Zhao Kaibing didn't say anything. He didn't mind the Zhen family father and son looking for trouble with Lin Yi again. Even if they couldn't kill Lin Yi, it would be good to make Lin Yi uncomfortable. Zhen Dazhao coughed and glared at his son. He thought to himself, if you want to seek revenge, you have to wait until you are better, right? Can't you tell which one is more important? After stopping his son from talking, Zhen Dazhao turned to look at the Medicine King. "Medicine King, who is more powerful between you and that Lin Yi? Humph, I can cure the disease he created. Who do you think is more powerful?" The Medicine King did not answer the question directly, but said misleadingly, "Of course you are more powerful, Medicine King." Zhen Dazhao didn't think so. He thought that the Medicine King was being tactful because he was being modest. He quickly said, "Then can you cure the child?" End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.